Welcome to this week's edition of the Swider Insider, a homecoming edition. I'm your host, Rusty Lindsay, joined with head football coach Mike Swider. Coach, your team comes off we'll call it a convincing victory at Milliken on Saturday night, one where you really just dominated in all aspects of the game. I mean, was there one thing you really felt better about than the other when all three phases are clicking on a night like that?
Well, I'm just happy that we came out and played well in a game that's very difficult for multiple reasons. You know, you got to travel 3 hours a day of a game, and that's a hard thing to do. And in football, what we got to do is we stop 2 hours in Bloomington and get something to eat you got to go to like a banquet hall because you can't feed that many kids in a restaurant. And then you got to get off the bus. We have meetings in that banquet facility, watch some tape, then get back on the bus, drive down there. They've got a soccer game going on. It's going in overtime. So now you're sitting around even longer, and you're in a visitor's locker room that's not meant for 75 guys, and it's hot, and yeah, it was a lot of strikes against you from the word go. But as we tell our players, those are not reasons not to play well, and they came out really well, played fast, all, as you said, all units. But the thing I'm happiest about is not any particular unit, just the group in general did not let circumstances affect the energy and the emotion and the effort that they put forth, and that's a credit to them.
This was a day where when you left Wheaton, it was about 55 degrees. You get down to Decatur, it was about 85 degrees. I mean, was that a surprise when you get there, just because it's completely different than what you woke up to?
Oh, no doubt. And it's just a surprise just experiencing it, but it's not a surprise because we told our players it was going to be warm because we had seen the forecast. But when you get down there and realize just how different it is, even though you're expecting it, it can shock you a little bit. And then the locker room was just brutal. So, yeah, there were some heat issues.
We had talked a little bit about making jumps from game 1 to game 2 leading into Illinois Wesleyan, but the bye week kind of hurts that a little bit because you're trying to get back into it. It felt like the offense took a pretty big jump, especially Luke Anthony. The ball came out better, the timing was there. Is that kind of what popped on tape when you went back and watched everything again?
And you might even see Luke continue to make progress because, you know, he really didn't play football for a couple of years. I mean, he played, but he wasn't out on game fields. And so, you know, then didn't have the advantage of going through those training camps, or being a guy who's one of the 1, 2, or 3 guys in training camp. So, you know, he's just going to get better. His learning curve is still pretty steep.
The offense obviously continued to look good. What needs to happen to fix what seems to be one errant snap a week? Because that cost you guys a score there late in the first half. What happens to make sure that doesn't come back to haunt you in a big game?
That wasn't an errant snap. That was Spencer Peterson. And regardless, a long snap is on the ground. One time it was an errant snap, and this one it was Spencer. The ball should have been caught. And so, yeah, tell him to snap the ball and tell him to catch the ball.
Obviously, Spencer Rowland getting some deserved accolades, 2 interceptions, but more importantly, he holds one of the best wide receivers in the conference to 24 yards on 4 catches, a guy that's gone for almost, I think, over 2,000 yards in his career. What did you see that he really did to take Jordan Smith out of that game?
Yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, you know, Jordan Smith is a big guy. And so you Spencer's a big guy, and Spencer's a physical kid. And so I think his physicality had a lot to do with him. And then I think the other thing that he's not a guy that runs a lot of routes. His route tree that we call, it's not a multiple route tree like we see the young man from North Central have, Kaminsky. He runs a multiple route tree. He's not a multiple, he really is just a vertical guy. And so when you can reduce that route tree to just 2 or 3 routes, it does help you.
How much did him seeing a lot of Jack Healy the week before and a few big physical receivers probably make that maybe an easy transition?
Oh, absolutely. It fit really well. Absolutely. Because both teams like to go chunk yardage, and we'll see something different this weekend. But, you know, we saw, like you said, those 2 big guys, but not only the 2 big guys, but their route trees are vertical routes. And so we had 2 weeks of practice for a similar type passing attack.
You guys, opening possession of the fourth quarter, pretty successful fake punt that gets you 40 yards. You guys have usually kept that in the bag. Is that something you saw on tape that Milliken might offer, or something you wanted to put on tape moving forward?
Both. Yeah, we show a lot of formations on our punt. A lot of formations. So teams have to take a lot of practice time to be able to line up correctly. And so then you periodically want to show somebody that, and they know, especially with Spencer Peterson there, that you've got some few things. And we do have a lot of things. And you just sort of wait for the right moment, but we distinctly wanted to run something in that game for a lot of reasons.
Well, a lot of those reasons. Now, well, before we get to that, Saturday was your 200th win, and maybe now we talked afterwards, but that's hard to get some big picture perspective 20 minutes after you wrap up a game leading into homecoming week in North Central. Have you had some time this week to kind of pull away a little bit and think about the overall picture of winning 200 games while you've been the head coach?
Yeah, it's well, I've been here 35, been the head guy 24 of them, and that's when you start, like you say, sit back and look at it, that's a lot of wins. And in our sport, you only play 10 a year, and then there's so many moving parts. There's just so many moving parts. So it's so it's hard to consistently win. And then to keep coaches around and keep staffs around. And so, but like I've said many times, and I said it to you that night, as long as Wheaton College continues to make a stand for Christ and His kingdom, and that sign's not coming down, our one calling card is that's a very attractive thing. And as long as that's happening, we're going to continue to get players, and Wheaton football, whether I'm here or not, will continue to win.
Well, let's start to look at what could be win number 201, and I'm sure that one was probably would be more important than 200 if we were to ask you at the top. Pretty good North Central team, obviously. That's no surprise. A lot of familiar parts. What do you see being some of the strengths and maybe what's different from what we've seen from past iterations of this team?
Well, the quarterback's a fifth-year senior. I mean, you look at Corey Kennedy, look at these guys at Patrick O'Connell in their respective positions. They're good players. He's not a fifth-year senior. He started for them. And so the guy's thrown a lot of balls. He's seen a lot of things. If I were to compare him to somebody, you've probably heard me say it, he's a Division III Tom Brady. He's a young man that gets the ball out of his hands quickly. He's that vertical threat. They can do it, but they don't have to live and die on it. He's very willing to dump the ball underneath to short crossing routes to running backs. And he's a patient guy. They'll stay patient. They're not going to get impatient like other teams and coaches will do and eventually try to go deep on it. And so that makes it difficult. He's good with the football. And so that makes it difficult. They run the ball well. They're balanced. Good coaches. And, so what do I see? There's nothing I really see that's different. It's North Central. It's that same North Central you've always seen. And defensively, the same thing. They got a North Central grad, just like we do, coaching their defense, and takes a lot of pride in it. And they've got some good players. So there's not a lot of, when you answer your question, is anything new that they're doing a lot of the same stuff because it works.
You look at his line from last year, throws for 436 yards. A lot of teams are winning that game, but that game was against him the whole time. Only one touchdown in that 430-some yards. How does that recipe work? I mean, what was the biggest element of letting him get that many yards and not getting in the end zone? Yeah,
well, you're not giving up. We gave up one chunk play before half. But you try to limit it, and you make people drive. And, they came out and tried to run. They ran the first three plays, and they got stopped. They ended up with 480, and he threw for 435, so do the math. They're not running the ball a lot or effectively. And so he is throwing the ball a ton of times. And I've said it many times, if we can just keep the cap on plays and make people drive, eventually any offense, not just North Central, any offense, things can go wrong. A guy will run a wrong route. There'll be a penalty. You get behind the chains. And then the other thing that sort of forced them out of their running game a little bit was you said it, we were always one step ahead. Initially, they were getting field goals. We were getting touchdowns. And if you do the math, eventually you start pulling away. And what were we getting our touchdowns on? Chunk plays. They were driving, eventually hit a settle. And so hopefully same thing works again.
You mentioned the chunk plays. Two of the three big ones. You had 3 touchdowns of 70 or more yards. 2 of the 3 big ones come on the ground. What did you see that opened up the running game so much? I think you ran for over 300 yards in that game.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if there was one particular thing. It was that, we had two really good tight ends, 3 tight ends really, and you have 3 tight ends. You go out there, you add those to 5 good offensive linemen, and you just say to yourself, I think we can run the ball well. And you see it happening all the time at all levels. You add tight ends to the equation, and your purpose. Look at the New England with a fullback who's like a tight end. The purpose is to be effective run game, and it can help you.
How much of an advantage does it have that these guys haven't seen T.J. Williams as he continues to get better and better and showcase how much of a special back he is?
Yeah, They haven't seen him. Well, nobody's seen him. It's not just them. It's until you see him, you don't know. And the thing that people don't realize about him, Rusty, is his physicality. They see speed and they see this patient elusiveness. I've always said he's like the running back for Pittsburgh is with the Jets. I can't think of his name right now.
Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, he's a real patient guy. And so they see patience and but they don't realize he is physically strong. If you see him in the weight room, he is a beast. And so the combination of physicality and his speed really make him very, very tough to handle.
Defensively, this is about as much turnover as we've seen them have. They move a couple guys to new positions, but a lot of new faces in this defense. What has been the calling card for them defensively so far this year?
Well, I mean, they got a couple guys up front that are good players, that are really good players. But I think the thing that's going to make them better is their secondary is going to be better. They were young last year in the secondary. And some of those guys now are back, and they got a little bit of experience. So I think the biggest thing you ask is I think their secondary is playing better than it did last year at this time.
Do you look at one level as being a little bit weaker than the other and say maybe this is an area that we've got a bigger advantage than in other areas?
No, right now it's just our versatility. It's not like, well, we got to go here because we're one-dimensional. We're really a versatile team. And so it's not so much who we're playing right now, Rusty, as it is getting guys touches that we want to have touches. You look at a guy like TJ and say, well, that guy's got to touch it 25 times a game. A guy like Spencer, the guy's got to touch it 10, 12 times a game. I mean, he's not a typical Division III kid. And then you look at a guy like Phillip, he's got to get some touches. Look at Torini, he's got to get some touches. And so all of a sudden you start going, it's not so much what I'm seeing is get the ball in these guys' hands somehow. And that's sort of the way you look at things with a diverse offense. It's just, let's create some things that can get these guys with the football. Because when you do that, they're good players. And when you have a versatile offense that has that kind of dimension, it's more that than who you're playing.
You look at this game the last couple of years has obviously had a big impact in the conference race, as you would expect with 2 teams in the top 10. It's also this year has a big impact on the region when you've got teams that are normally up there that have taken losses. Have you allowed yourself to really look at the big picture for this game and what could be on the line a couple weeks after this game?
Well, yeah, I'm not one of those kind of guys. I know, trust me, to be one of those kind of guys is not wrong, but for me, it's just, I'm not naive enough to know that the game doesn't matter. And it's going to matter on a conference level, and it's going to matter on the regional level, and it's going to have playoff implications. You win it, you really are in the bird seat, the catbird seat. I mean, you put yourself, and you don't win it. It's not that you're out of it by any means, but now you're going to be in a war where there's going to be some subjectivity associated to where you end up. And you win this game, you sort of eliminate that. And so I'm smart enough to know that.
You've had a pretty strong run of play here against North Central. You had obviously the weird game, the Saturday-Monday game here last time, then the game over there. You've spoiled their homecoming a couple times. I think the last 2 wins over there has been on their homecoming. This game feels so much bigger than normal just because it is homecoming. Does it kind of feel like there's this additional atmosphere to this game?
Oh, there's no question. I mean, I've always said this, rivalries are big for multiple reasons, and we got all of them. I mean, proximity. You look at basketball there and down in North Carolina. Don't tell me proximity doesn't have something to do with that. Proximity has a lot to do with great rivalries. The next thing is competitive. Rivalry's got to be competitive, and this is a competitive rivalry. And the third thing is you got to play for something. And you're playing for a bell that's been passed around for 70, 80, whatever it's been years. Then you add not only competitive teams, but nationally competitive teams. Well, you start layering this stuff and add homecoming to it, and then even add the thing that right now one of them's ranked so well offensively and the other defensively. There's so many layers there that make it really competitive, and what you're trying to let your players do is stay off the internet and go watch the Dick Van Dyke Show.
Does this feel like one of those games that should almost be in a rivalry week scenario at the end of the year every year, similar to the Monon Bell or the Cortica Jug, and where it's something where, all right, we know where this is going to be on the schedule. The season can kind of build to it, and it's just this great culmination of the regular season.
Well, it feels like it should. Yeah, it really does. I don't know if that can ever take place because of the way they do our conference schedules, but you are right. I mean, in Division I football, they have the capacity to do those things because there are a lot of teams that have rivalries. But I don't know right now in the Seaside W that there's a rivalry that you could square up with other teams and sync it up. But it has that feel, there's no doubt. It's a November game.
Right. Have you seen something like this where you see, or maybe even participated, number one offense, scoring offense, number one passing offense against number one scoring defense, number one passing defense? I mean, it's just their strengths are your strengths defensively, and statistically it is striking how many of these are number one against number one in the country.
I mean, we've matched up with strength against strength, but not at that level where you literally are among the nation's finest. So you always say, well, there's their strength against our strength. But there's something there. There really is. But it's still a football game, and you got to reduce it to that. You have to. You can't. These things are good for discussion, but your players, hopefully they're not in these discussions.
You've got two of your former players going into the Hall of Honor this weekend with James Hawksworth and Dan Price. Talk a little bit about those two and their impact on the program and what this means, big picture for them.
They were part of a pretty sweet run.
Right.
I mean, they were part of 2-3 consecutive conference
and as much of a foundation class to where the program is now as any.
Yeah. 2000 we won. We won one in 95, but the program hadn't really solidified. I mean, we were good. I mean, we were winning games where 96 we only lost one, didn't get in the playoffs. I mean, but that 2000 sort of started something that was a little different. And these guys were part of that. And that 03 team that they both played on we beat in the second round, we beat Baldwin Wallace down here, I think it was 16-14 or something. And that, to put us into the third round, they were part of something that was really special, no doubt. And Dan was, he was just a tough running back, man, just hard to knock down. And of course, Hawksworth, one of those really athletic offensive linemen, All-American shot putter and discus throw, I think, too. Really an athletic kid. So, special guys, and like you said, part of a foundation.
How much do you balance on these kind of weekends, getting to spend time with those guys and all the guys coming back? Since it is homecoming, it is North Central. Your door is going to be a lot busier than normal.
It started yesterday already.
Yeah,
Hawksworth shows up with his 3 kids, his wife, 15 minutes before practice. I said, James, come on now, buddy. But yeah, it's already been 3 or 4 guys in there already this morning, so it's been fun.
Does that get harder with knowing you've got maybe a little extra prep to put in with the Bell game and a top 5 opponent like this?
Yeah, I think the kids understand that your meetings are relatively brief. I'll see a lot of them at Chapel today, which will be fun.
Well, Coach, thanks for your time. We get a chance to talk to you hopefully after 2:01 on Saturday.
Oh, it'll be nice.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to McCully Stadium. It's the 101st all-time meeting between North Central College and Wheaton College. On the line, the little brass bell and the catbird seat of the CCIW conference title race. I'm Rusty Lindsay alongside Doug Rothschild, Dan Studebaker, Cassidy Thornburg down on the field, getting you set for what might be the marquee matchup in the Division III landscape today. You've got the unstoppable force and the immovable object, quite literally. North Central comes in ranked number 1 in the country in total offense, scoring offense, passing offense, and passer efficiency. Wheaton comes in ranked number 1 in the country in total defense, scoring defense, passing defense, and defensive passing efficiency. It's probably maybe the first time we've seen this in the CCIW potentially since the 80s when Augustana was putting up all those numbers, but this is as good a matchup as it gets here with their offense and the Wheaton defense.
Yeah, there's no question that this one's going to be a doozy. And the highlight has been the number 1 offense versus the number 1 defense. But people got to remember the undercard here is North Central sports the number 7 defense in the country against Wheaton's number 18 offense. In fact, if you look at the national rankings and statistics for each of these teams, for Wheaton, they rank in the top 25 in 12 different categories, and North Central ranks in the top 10 in 10 different categories. So these two teams are very good top to bottom. And up to now, you see these two teams have handled their opponents really by being better. Today, you're going to have teams that are pretty equally matched, and so it's going to be important to see how the matchups develop.
Yeah, this is a game that both teams and both coaches have circled on the calendar every single year for the last essentially 20 years since the Thorn family took over at North Central. I mean, that's really where North Central sort of rose to their prominence and really took over the CCIW for a while. It's the battle of the heavyweights. I mean, this is the winner of this game very likely goes on to win the CCIW, and that's no secret. And I mean, I think that today you've just got at all positions there isn't a single team that has a player that they're going to go right at because everybody is a quality football player.
Let's start with the most obvious guy on the field who has the key to this game, number 9, Brock Rutter. 101 career passing touchdowns, 17 interceptions. He owns just about every passing record North Central has. He's thrown for over 10,000 yards in his career. He's 1-3 in his career, and he's lost the last 3 against Wheaton. What do we expect to see from Brock Rutter today?
Well, I expect you to see Brock Rutter being Brock Rutter, which is going to be he's going to complete a high percentage of his passes. He is going to know where the ball is or where to throw the ball at all times. One thing that Brock Rutter does that's really impressive is he throws the ball on time as receivers come out of their break. It's really hard to defend. If he has time to throw, then he is going to absolutely complete a high number of passes, and they're going to move the ball. Wheaton, on the Wheaton side, they're going to have to try to play 2 deep safety, which means controlling the line of scrimmage, so they don't have to bring an extra safety into the run game. A 2 deep safety to eliminate the big play and make them do 9, 10, 11 play drives to score.
Yeah. It's going to be, we said it before the Illinois Wesleyan game, and it didn't turn out the way that we thought it would, where we thought Illinois Wesleyan would move the ball a little better. This offense is going to move the ball on Wheaton. I mean, it is going to be that, you're going to have some of the dink and dunk, the little stuff down the field, but they're going to move it, and it's going to be up to Wheaton as they have been in years past, where they just bend, don't break near the goal line. We're really their athleticism and their speed on the defensive side of the ball really needs to shine through.
One of the other things I would mention is Brock Rutter has a receiving core this year that they really, really like, and he has a lot of rapport with. Now, they lost guys like Cam Moore last year, who caught 65 balls for North Central, and everyone thought it was going to be a big loss. He transferred to Aurora. Well, they put in Blake Williams, and he's on track to catch more than 65 at this point. Blake Williams is a 6'5" receiver. He meshes really nicely with Rutter, and as you heard Jeff Thorne say in his interview, that Brock trusts those receivers. And Giangelo Hardy, a freshman receiver, has done some really special things. He's on track also to catch a fair number of balls. He's caught 9 already through 3 games. So Blake Williams and Giangelo Hardy, along with the stalwart Andrew Kaminsky, are going to be the guys. And they all trust Rutter, and then they have a great rapport together.
Maybe the biggest X factor in this game is who lines up under center on the other side of the ball. That's Luke Anthony. Looked a little slow on the read against Monmouth. Looked better against Illinois Wesleyan. Looked pretty good last week down in Milliken. Every week, every pass becomes more fluid. The timing gets better. This is going to be his biggest test to date. And again, Coach Swider mentioned in the Insiders, right now we'll send it down to the field, the national anthem by the Wheaton Men's Glee Club.
By the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. For the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
A homecoming tradition, the national anthem before the game, sung by the Wheaton Men's Glee Club, featuring some alumni. As we were talking about, Luke Anthony looked very good last week. 3 passing touchdowns. The ball's coming out better. The reads are there. The timing's better. He looks more comfortable in the pocket. Big test here today for someone that's played 3 games in the last couple of years of football.
Yeah, we expected to see some hiccups in the Monmouth game, as it was the first time he'd played in a long time, and it's the first time that the job had been given to him just a few days prior to that. So the progression that we've seen in weeks 2 and 3 so far coming into this game are exactly what we needed to see, right? He's getting it out quicker. He's making the right reads. He's going to face the first defense, as you mentioned, Doug, in the before we got on the mics today. You can just pretty much take the first 3 games of the season and throw them away because we don't know what those games really are. This is where, for the first time, you're going to be facing national level contenders, right? Where you have a defense that can play on both sides of the ball and both are very capable on offense. And North Central is going to force Luke Anthony to make plays today.
Yeah, no question. Luke's got a big burden on his shoulders here, but it's going to be alleviated a little bit by the kid standing next to him and or behind him, TJ Williams.
TJ Williams, maybe the best back in the CCIW, maybe the best back in the country. He's averaging 132 yards per game, and every week it's felt like you get to the end of the game and said, wow, I didn't realize that's how many he had. It's an easy 132 yards a game, and you're probably going to see a lot of TJ because Wheaton was very run-heavy in their attack last year. They found something they like against North Central schematically, and you've got a stud back there who deserves to have the ball 15, 20 times, 25 times a game.
Yeah, no question. The strategy for both teams on both sides of the ball are going to be centered around Brock Rudder for North Central's offense and Wheaton's defense, and TJ Williams for Wheaton's offense and North Central's defense. North Central is going to come down and try to stop TJ Williams, and if you look at the stats, their leading tackler is Ben Wong, the linebacker, who's been very good, but the second and third leading tackler are their 2 safeties, Dakota Kremens and Meyerhofer. They like to come downhill, and that's because they play a lot of man-to-man on the outside. You're going to see Jake Beasley and Braden Lindmark play bump and run man on the wide receivers, and those safeties are not going to backpedal out of a 2-deep look. They're going to come downhill, covering either in man-to-man tight ends and running backs, which brings them into the running plays, or playing a cover 4, which is more of a flat or curl defender. So those safeties are going to be big-time players in the running game against Wheaton, and I'm sure that's going to be part of North Central's game plan.
And I think that will absolutely be a part of Wheaton's offensive game plan too. Is you've got 2 guys, Philip Nichols and Adam Trini, who Philip is a difficult guy to cover in one-on-one because he's so slippery, right? He's very, very good at running routes, very crisp, very tight, and a very good pass catcher. And then you've got Adam Trini, who he takes the top off of a defense. I mean, he can just run. Hey, see how far you can throw it, and I'll go catch it. So he's gonna take pressure. Those 2 guys will take pressure off of the running game today because they're going to be down the field, and Luke's going to have an opportunity to make big plays.
North Central will get the ball first, dressed in all white. The white bottoms, white tops, black numbers outlined in red. The red NC on the sides of the white helmets, Wheaton, and the orange tops, white bottoms, blue caps, and we are underway in 101st meeting between Wheaton and North Central, bringing it out of the end zone, looking for room, and he's going to be decked at the 10 by Nate Gers. Maybe a mental mistake there, but that's Armando Varela, the senior running back, who brings that out from 5 yards deep in the end zone.
Very, very interesting decision to bring it out. I mean, this is going to be a field position turnover battle, and North Central starts it off from their own 11-yard line here as we kick the game off. So that was the first mistake of the day right there is trying to make too much happen too early.
That's a play you can make against North Park. That's not a play that's going to work today. So we'll see number 9, Brock Rudder, out of the gun for the first time today. CCIW Offensive Player of the Week, after he had a 94% completion rate last week. They will hand off on first down to Ethan Greenfield, who is wrapped up at the line of scrimmage, and he will get maybe half a yard, met by a wall of orange jerseys. And that was the problem last year. The run game just wasn't there to give Brock Rudder any help.
Yeah, I think what they're trying to do, and what I would certainly try to do, is double team the 2 tackles, which they did. They put 2 guys onto Dallas McCray, and then they tried to chip off on the linebacker, which is a bad decision because he came off and bubbled it, and then Holiday came down the line to get in on that tackle.
So 2nd and 9 from the 12, trips to the right side. Back he goes on 3, looking across the middle, pocket collapse, incomplete through the hands of Kaminsky, and it's a big early third down in this one with the long field ahead of the Cardinals.
Huge thing to focus is third down offense for both sides. North Central comes in with the one of the top conversion rates for third down, and Wheaton's defense is top 10 in stopping third down. So here's the first test.
Maybe the biggest matchup of the day, preseason All-American Sharmore Clark, one of the best interior linemen in the country, going up against Dallas McCray. Wheaton with just 3 down linemen here on 3rd and 9 from the 12. Rudder looking left. He's going to get rid of it in a hurry. Great coverage and a flag down. Roland got his right hand around the body of the receiver, and Rudder slow to get up after he delivered that ball. That's the first big hit we've seen on Brock Rudder, and he's shaken up. Brock Rudder going to the sideline here. He's struggling to catch his breath, it looks like.
Yeah, he got a nice pop in the chest there. I don't know if he just lost his breath or potentially bruised ribs or something. Hopefully he's going to be okay. That call came from the line judge the judge who was behind the offensive backfield. And interestingly enough, the back judge, who would have been in position to see whether that right arm was affecting it, did not throw the flag.
Did not throw it, yeah.
So 1st and 10 from the 21. That is on North Central's sideline where the play occurred. And a lot of times you see sidelines get those calls. So 1st and 10 from the 21 after the penalty. Wheaton goes back to 4 down linemen. Rudder out of the gun on first down. Play fake off of Greenfield. Going into the slot. Kaminsky, it's complete. Nice play made by Kennedy. Ball came out for a second, but he was able to cover it up. That's a great play made by Kennedy to take on that first blocker.
And we call his name every single week that he plays. He's such an instinctual player. He just ducks underneath that block and makes the initial hit to slow Kaminsky down. And there's a herd of tacklers right there to make the play. So great play by Corey Kennedy to just cause disruption, and everyone's able to get there for a tackle for loss. Great start.
Front 5 for the Cardinals. Senior left tackle Jake Fiedler. We mentioned Clark, the junior left guard. Jared Thornton, the freshman center. Ricky Sturba, Colton Balknack, 2 seniors on the right side. 2nd and 10. Play action fake complete to Kaminsky underneath. Kennedy wraps him up right away, and he falls forward, going to be just about a yard shy of the first down marker.
Brings up yet another third down. It's going to be 3rd and about 2. Another test for this number 1 rated third down converting offense against this top 10 third down defense.
Brock Rudder's still struggling to get around back there. He is hurting after that hit on the pass interference call. 3rd and a yard from the 30. Wheaton has 4 down linemen. They move the tight end Tyler Egan to the right side. Handoff into the middle of the line, and he's going to have just enough across the 31-yard line. That's Ethan Greenfield, the sophomore running back. And that'll move the chains again for the Cardinals. The wide receivers, you'll see a lot of number 18, Blake Williams, who we mentioned, Andrew Kaminsky, a 2-time All-Region selection, and D'Angelo Hardy, the freshman. You'll also see a lot of number 1, Corey Blair, as this team will probably spread the field with a lot of 4 wide receiver looks. This time they'll send Hardy in motion, play fake off the jet motion. Rudder struggling to get out of the pocket. He will gingerly, rolling and tucking, and he will slide down just after a first down, but looked like North Central got away with a hold on the near side against Dallas McCray.
Another great, good blocking there by the North Central offensive line. And nice job by Rudder, who's got a good feel in the pocket. Of course, you'd think he would for all the experience he has, but really nice job stepping up and then not seeing anything taken off and then sliding to get that first down.
1st and 10 from their own 43. Greenfield moves to the right side. Back to pass in the middle of the pocket. 4-man rush across the middle, and it's completed to the referee. Yeah. We've got a flag coming down late. That is the longest yard throw there, right into the referee in the middle of the field.
And that's the matchup that we're going to be watching today. That was Dallas McCray getting tackled by Sharmore Clark. It looked like a pancake block, but he was wrapped up and pushed straight to the ground. Just 59. I was not.
That was the right tackle.
On Patrick O'Connell.
And we have not called O'Connell's name a lot this year. It's going to be a big one for O'Connell, who only has 9 tackles and 1 sack through 3 games. O'Connell in the front line with Dallas McCray, Jake Holliday, and River Schindeldecker. Linebacking core of Wyatt Lee, Ryan Schwartz, and Daniel Herber. Spencer Rowland and Robbie Schwartz, the corners. Corey Kennedy, Caden Sigler, the safeties.
Yeah, Pat O'Connell is a well-decorated defensive end for Wheaton, and somebody who hasn't really checked in on the stat sheet. He's been a productive player, forcing things back in, but you'd like to see him get to Rudder a couple times here
First
today.
and 20 they give to Greenfield on the draw. Great recognition by Schwartz, who was coming from the backside of the formation, and he tracks him down for a short gain on 1st and 20.
Patrick O'Connell, I mean, you talk about these defensive tackles for the Thunder and Holiday and McCray. O'Connell was a Player of the Year candidate on defense last year if it wasn't for Eric Stevenson, who was a Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, Patrick O'Connell was an absolute dominating force on defense for the Thunder last year.
D'Angelo Hardy back into the formation, replacing Matt Metz as they go 6-7 deep at wide receiver. A lot of talent around Brock Rudder in this prolific passing offense. 2nd and 15. Looking into the flat to Greenfield over the head of Schindeldecker, makes the first guy miss and powers through. Wyatt Lee, ball came out, but it goes right into the Wheaton sideline. Wyatt Lee stood him up, had the strip, and it went out of bounds.
Still a touch behind the chains for this 3rd down. Again, North Central having converted the first 2 3rd downs, going to face with their 3rd one on this opening drive of the game in a scoreless game. Big opportunity for the Thunder to get a stop here.
That was close by Wyatt Lee.
Greenfield has not lost yards on a carry this year. He's a guy who is always powering forward. We've seen it a couple times already. 3-by-1 set, 3rd and 12 from their own 41. Delayed 4-man rush. Looking for room in the pocket. It's underneath. Nobody covering Blake Williams, and he's off to the races down the far sideline. 20, 15, 10, 5, and he's brought down from behind by Wyatt Lee.
That's a concept that the North Central runs a lot. You'll see Williams starting the short side of the field here. He comes all the way across 3 receivers to the field. They clear out across the field, and he's just coming on a short underneath route, which they do all the time. Usually you see Kaminsky in that role coming on a little drag route from the other side. They like to flood the whole zone, get everybody going vertical, bring the receiver from the other side underneath, and that time they did it, and Wheaton got fooled.
Corey Blair with a great block downfield. Wyatt Lee tracking him down from behind. 1st and goal from the 5 for the Cardinals, who have driven it from their own 10. Play into Greenfield, middle of the line. Herber makes the tackle, falling forward to the 1, but again, Greenfield falling forward every time he gets the football.
Dallas McCray in the back of the end zone.
Doesn't look good.
Hobbling just a little bit there.
And North Central quickly back to the line. Shouldn't be a whole lot of surprise to this play, the way Greenfield's been running. High snap, Greenfield again, and he tiptoes off left guard and into the end zone. North Central takes the first drive of the game all the way down the field, aided by the 3rd down pass interference call, and they strike first with 10:14 left in the first quarter.
Really an impressive drive. North Central doing what they do, really around Brock Rudder and his arm, and the great call there on the long pass play to Blake Williams, flooding that zone and bringing Blake Williams across, and could have been a busted coverage, but great execution by North Central on that drive.
Snap put down, and the kick is up and away by Deslich, and North Central leads 7-0 after the first drive of the game.
Yeah, very nice drive by North Central there. I mean, you had they were behind the sticks, they were behind time a couple of times there. Brock Rudder looked to be shaken up a little bit. Great drive by them to put something together and to continue moving the ball and expose Wheaton, on that crossing route there to get a huge gain. But I mean, they were 3rd and long a number of times, and Wheaton just needs to make that big play and make the stop and get Brock Rudder off the field.
Well, it's going to be about adjustments. These first drives, you're getting a feel for each other, and you're coming off the field saying, hey, here's the look we got, here's what we expected. How are we going to make those adjustments? And so both sides are going to do that. And now the opportunity is for the Thunder offense and the North Central defense to get their first look at each other as well. And I know that Wheaton usually comes out with a script of plays that they want to run at the start of a game against to see what looks they're going to get and what kind of defensive strategy the Cardinals are going to come at him with. And so Jesse Scott and his Thunder offense are going to have their work cut out for him here to start the game on their side.
Cassidy Thornburg roaming the sidelines for the Thunder. Cassidy, it had looked like a day that we might be battling some weather elements. It has turned out to be a beautiful afternoon for football. What's the weather like down there on the field?
Yes, Rusty, Dan, nice to be joining y'all. It's nice here out on the field. We're not expecting rain until 5 p.m., so that'll be good. Also, the Bell sitting in the middle of the field. Spencer Rowland earlier this week said that they've been staring at it all week, hoping for this game, looking forward to it.
North Central hoping to claim it off the Thunder sideline. Thanks, Cassidy. We'll continue to check in down on the sideline. This is Stone Watson on the kick return from his own 6. Watson outside the right hash and powering through a tackle across the 30. And we noticed it when he laid a hit on the kickoff return against Illinois Wesleyan. And a late flag comes down. I think North Central just cost themselves 15 yards at the very end of this play. Well, Stone Watson's healthy. He's delivering hits here on kickoff returns.
Well, somebody cost themselves 15 yards.
I think that might be Wheaton.
I think that was wide receiver Burt McJunkin out there wrestling with the North Central player, and the refs are talking about it.
It is against Wheaton. The official threw it right where the North Central player was walking away. And so Wheaton will back themselves up to the 16 after a good return by Stone Watson. Penalties have been a problem for this team early on.
Yeah, that's just not good. You get a great return, great field position, and you do something stupid and set your team back, and hopefully the coaches are addressing it on the sideline.
1st and 10 for the Thunder with T.J. Williams the lone back. Stretch to the left side for T.J. Steps in through one tackle, and he rolls out near the 20.
And again, very quickly you saw Dakota Cremens come up and be in the backfield, who's the safety coming down. He's the boundary safety on that side of the field, which I think they're going to do. They're going to have Jake Beasley. You'll see it here. He'll play bump and run man, and the safety to the short side will come downhill after that guy.
Twins right, split left as Torini's going to motion into the trip set on the right side. Williams on the right hip of Anthony. Anthony back to pass. They're going to swing it out to T.J. Williams. Cremins defeats a block. T.J. breaks one, has a first down, and into the North Central sideline. But again, Dakota Cremins looks like he's going to be a force here, defeating blocks and getting into the backfield. But T.J. Williams, a little different animal with the ball in his hands.
Well, that's the thing you got to watch with T.J. The thing teams don't understand is his speed. You take an angle as a safety expecting a certain level of speed, and he just outruns you even with a better angle.
Dan Gilroy, Tommy Highland, a preseason All-American at defensive tackle. Isaiah Ziegler and Tyler Rich, the front 4 for the Cardinals on 1st and 10 from their own 27. Give to TJ sprinting to the left side across the 30. Cremins again as TJ rolls across the 35, and I think he's got another first down as we look at the rest of the North Central defense. The linebackers, Ben Wong in the middle last year moves outside this year. In the middle is Brian Beauchamp, and Zach Greenberg moves down from free safety to the other outside linebacker. Braden Lindmark and Jake Beasley, 2 big corners at 6'3" and 6'4". Dakota Cremins, who we've called a lot, and Tim Mayerhofer, the safeties for the Cardinals. 1st and 10 on the run by T.J. Williams. 2x2 the receivers on 1st and 10 from the 37. Anthony going to play fake on the outcut to Phil Nichols, has the first down, and across midfield. Jesse Scott's offense is clicking here, back-to-back first downs.
Yeah, it's as you mentioned, Doug. Jesse Scott likes to have his playbook, very well rehearsed, very well scripted, and see how it unfolds, see what coverage and what looks he's going to get. And it feels similar to last year where it's like everything's working so far, right? I mean, it's very early into the game, but they have an established running back in T.J. Williams that you can just work, and then you open up the field.
Sam Singleton in the backfield with Stone Watson into the flat and incomplete, knocked down on the play. That's going to be Talia Alyan who knocks that one down.
And this defense for North Central, again, people got to remember this is the number 7 defense in the country going against the number 18 offense in the country. These are both good, well-talented players on both sides of the ball here.
Ayan's going to get a lot of run at defensive end. He's got 2 sacks already this year. They go very deep on the outside. Anthony going to roll to his right. They're looking to take a shot up top. The defensive back fell down, and he threw it into the sideline. Torini could have walked in for a touchdown, and instead it'll be 3rd and 10 at midfield.
One of the things they're trying to do, again, they have these wide receivers that are being bump and run on the widest side of the field, so they're bringing them inside or out, and then they're taking the slot receiver and trying to work those safeties and making those safeties cover our guys man-to-man. That's what you saw earlier in the drive with Nichols in the slot, and you just saw it there on a corner route.
3rd and 10, 4 wide receivers on the field. Torini comes in motion, and we've got a flag. I don't think Anthony wanted the motion from the receiver, and Hibbins sent him the ball. So it'll be 3rd and 15 from the 45. Penalties on 3rd down, looming large here for the Thunder already.
Usually North Central goes into a nickel look, which they have here. It's a 3 down lineman, 3 deep, 5 under zone. So it's like a two-deep zone with an extra safety to cover the middle of the field.
3rd and 15 from the 45. It's cover 2 as they go underneath. Anthony is going to go into the flat to Tarini. It's complete across the 45 down to the 44. Going to bring up 4th and 4. And with a punter as talented as John Bickle, Coach Swider going to choose to play field position, but that penalty's big as that's an 11-yard completion that would have been a first down.
Just huge. I mean, it's something we've talked about in week after week is the penalties that just, stop drives, continue drives for the other team. It's just you just have to clean it up and play more precise football.
Wheaton showed fake last week for a 39-yard run by Peterson. They do not fake here. It's into the corner, and just, wow. If there is there's such a thing as sexy punter play, that's it. That's a lob wedge down it to the 2. What a talent John Bickle is at that coffin corner.
The Brooks Koepka of punting.
That is soft touch from Bickle. They had a man there, and he didn't even need him. That ball dies where it landed.
If that pylon in the front corner of the end zone is a flag, then he's putting for eagle. It's a really nice punt down there. Pin these guys back there deep.
So Rudder and company out for the second time. They drove 90 yards the first time. They'll have to go 98 to find the end zone this time after John Bickle pins them at the 2. So we'll see if this makes the playbook a little more conservative for the Cardinals, even though Rudder will still stay out of the shotgun, out of his own end zone. They will give to Greenfield, who finds a seam out across the 5 to give him the 7. So that should open things up enough for North Central to get to the pass again on a 5-yard first down run. But the offensive line setting the tone early for North Central.
And that's the battle. I mean, you can see Wheaton is staying in this two-deep safety look because they don't want to give up the big play. They're counting on their front 4, their front 7 really to stop the run, and North Central's been challenging it.
Greenfield again on a cutback in front of McCray, piles across the 10 to the 11. 3rd and a yard here for North Central. They're 3 for 3 on 3rd downs, converting 2 using a penalty for the other.
Extra tight end coming in. They've got double tight here. No reason to think they'll do anything but hand the ball to Greenfield.
See if C.J. Nightingale has an answer on the defensive end. 3rd and 1. Short shotgun look, and that'll be an easy pickup for a gain of 2 for Ethan Greenfield. So North Central working themselves out of the shadow of their own goalposts. And they will have a first down at their own 13-yard line with 6.5 minutes left here in the first quarter. This is a big possession when you look at it. Brock Rudder and his offense with an opportunity to take a 2-score lead before Wheaton gets the ball for the second time. 1st and 10 from their own 13. Kaminsky motions down inside a trip set, along with Metz and Blake Williams. Play fake, looking to the right side, pressure in his face from Schindeldecker, and he just throws that at the feet of Kaminsky. A wise giveaway there for Brock Rudder.
Again, on those short plays, on the running plays, on those 3rd downs, at some point in the game, and it may not be now, you're going to want to take a chance. And by saying take a chance, you want to bring an extra safety down so that you can be a little more stout against the run. Because right now, they're counting on those 2 deep safeties, being conservative, and the front 4 is just going to be hard to limit it to 2 yards.
Looking to the right side into the flat, complete to Greenfield, met by Schwartz, who stands him up, and it'll be 3rd and 6 here, and one that Wheaton's defense desperately needs to get off the field on.
Yeah, they absolutely need to get off the field here and slow down this North Central offense that's really having its way. I mean, the look that we were, or the matchup that we were looking at was the interior defensive linemen for Wheaton, who are they're just getting blown away right now, and Brock Rudder's able to just stand there in the pocket or hand off and get the yards needed. But they just need to get off the field and get the offense the ball back.
3rd and 7 for Rudder. Wheaton will rush 4. Sits in the pocket, climbing, complete to Kaminsky, and Kaminsky's going to win the race for the first down against Daniel Herber out to the 30. So at the very least, you've taken the field position advantage away.
Similar concept from North Central here. You got bump and run on the corners. The widest guys clear the field. The inside slot kind of runs a little pigtail route. He comes in and breaks out, plenty of room to run towards the outside, and he outruns him for the first down.
1st and 10, they'll mark it at the 31. Motion comes from Hardy. They will play fake and give to Greenfield, running the other direction. And Greenfield out across the 40, breaking tackles to the 43-yard line. This is something that has been missing from North Central's game plan against Wheaton the last couple of years. They are establishing the running game early today.
And trying to get out on the perimeter. Nice perimeter blocking there by the receivers, which is a big key to this game, is how well these receivers on both sides can handle the other team's defensive backs. But you can't miss tackles. You're going to end up with somebody isolated, and you got to make that tackle if you're a safety.
Rudder back to pass on first down. Pressure from Schindeldecker complete to Kaminsky, who is decked at midfield by Schwartz. And Kaminsky slow to get up. Actually, he's not getting up.
Two big hits. Actually, Rudder took a hit from Schindeldecker right here as soon as he released it as well.
And that's as legal as it gets, too, on a tackle from Schwartz. Helmet in front, shoulder pads into the sternum. And Kaminsky still on the ground right at midfield.
Physical game. These are two physical football teams. I mean, you're seeing it already across the board here on the interior, but as well as the perimeter. Both teams trying to lay hits on people. You saw in the last play the wide receivers being really physical against the Wheaton Thunder defensive backs in the running game. And then there, the Thunder defensive backs come back and lay a hit on Kaminsky. This is going to be a physical game and a war from start to finish.
2nd and 4 after the completion. Kaminsky will have to take at least one play off, but he did walk off the field under his own power. Alex Rose motions to the left side. They will give to Greenfield straight ahead, has a first down, powering forward. Finally stopped short of the 40 at the 41.
McCray down on the field now.
McCray down back, almost the same spot that Kaminsky was down.
Looking at his leg or his ankle.
Guillermo Toro listed as the backup for Dallas McCray. But this is a defensive line that's already getting pushed around in this game. So even though McCray now able to walk off under his own power, even though a little ginger at first.
Hope both those guys are able to get back in. Hopefully for Kaminsky, it was just a wind knocked out of him, and hopefully for Dallas, he just tweaked something. He'll be able to get back in there as well. You want both these teams at full strength for this game.
We haven't seen a whole lot of extra pressure coming to Grant Miller going to come into the game in the middle.
Kaminsky's back.
And Kaminsky back on the field as well. At what point do you start to see C.J. Nightingale maybe dial up some extra pressure for run support? So far, it's only been four-man fronts and rushes. 1st and 10, give to Greenfield on a cutback, and he powers through the back of his own blocker, riding him ahead for an extra yard or two until he goes down at the 42.
So right now, as I mentioned, the strategy is just to keep a two-deep safety, which doesn't give a defensive back really up there in run support. You're just defending this North Central run with 6, the 4D linemen and the 2 linebackers. If they're going to be effective on first down running 4 and 5 yards like they've been, you're going to end up having to bring another safety into the play, either run man-to-man or play a cover 3 type of a look.
Alex Rose motioning to the left side. Defensive line reacts. This is Greenfield on a stretch to the left side. Has the corner behind Sharmore Clark. Going to be brought down shy of the first down by a couple yards. And a late flag comes in. Kennedy battling downfield. I'm not sure who.
I think they're going to get. That's the
right tackle.
Yeah. That's Bachnecht, who was chasing Corey Kennedy into the sideline.
And it's against North Central.
That's a big play.
And it's after the play, so it's going to remain 3rd down.
Yeah, that is a big play. And look, Wheaton's had their penalty problems. North Central hasn't been much better. The two of them together are, in terms of 300 Division III teams, are both ranked pretty far down there in the 200s in terms of penalties against each of their teams. So North Central has had their penalty problems as well. Early in this game, it's been largely towards the Wheaton ledger. There you started to see it balance out a little bit.
3rd and 2 turns into 3rd and 18 for the Cardinals. That could be a big one and maybe a saving grace for the Thunder, who not just have 3 down linemen here on 3rd down. Rudder back to pass. They set up the screen. Flag comes down late. It's Greenfield who's going to be brought down shy of the first down marker, but did Schindeldecker get an early jump coming off the edge?
Might be. It might also be an illegal formation. They had a motion guy from the boundaries. So they might not have had a covered tackle, but it's one of the two of those.
North Central's backing up. I think they know they are the guilty party here.
No, it's against the
Thunder.
Thunder.
It is the offsides. So if you're North Central, do you take another shot at 3rd down, or you've got it down to about 4th and 9? maybe even 8.
It's a tough decision here. If he's going for it either way, I'd probably keep it right here. If he's thinking, hey, I might, I don't know what you do.
He's taking his time figuring out if he wants to take the penalty or not.
Probably take the penalty.
He does, so that'll bring it back to 3rd and 13.
Yeah, that's a little more manageable. Now you can throw something in the kind of 8 to 9 yard range and maybe hope somebody breaks a tackle. That just brings all those plays onto your playbook.
So 3rd and 13, and the Wheaton defense needs to come up with something here.
Have to get off the field.
This
has
been all North Central.
They're wrapping up Dallas McCray's ankle down here.
Back to pass against 4. Here comes Schindeldecker, and he's brought down. Schindeldecker and O'Connell meet at the quarterback.
That's the guy we've been waiting for all season to check in. That was O'Connell at the legs, and Schindeldecker came and cleaned it up. But he's been knocking at the door this entire game against the right tackle here. And you see him, he steps up and then kind of just falls into it. But great play by both of those defensive ends to meet at the quarterback. That's exactly what you want to see on a 3rd and long right there, is just get the defense off the field. I mean, North Central has had the ball for almost this entire game so far. We have 2 minutes left here in the first quarter.
I think if you take the penalty, you're in a position to, the penalty almost cost them there. They were in a position to go for it. This one's going to be bombed into the end zone by Deslick, so bring it out to the 25, and Wheaton will try again. But boy, that penalty on 3rd, what would have been 3rd and 3, huge for North Central offense that had driven from its own 2 and has had the ball almost 90% of this quarter already.
Well, penalties have been the story of the drive so far. The first drive, you had the pass interference against Wheaton that gave them the first down on a 3rd and long, and then there on a 3rd down penalty as well. So penalties, you hope, don't decide this game. But both of these teams are pretty highly penalized teams, so it's going to be a factor. Hopefully it balances out but doesn't affect the outcome.
So the ball at the 20 for the Thunder on their second drive of the game. TJ Williams, left hip of Luke Anthony. They will give to TJ, looking for room up the middle. Patient running across the 20, falling forward to the 23-yard line. 2 running backs today that are hard to take backwards, as we'll see Spencer Peterson for the first time today.
And there you saw the North Central defense lining up in kind of a 2-deep look, but putting one safety up into the flat and the other one goes to deep middle right at the snap of the ball. So a little bit of disguise there, trying to get an extra guy into the run game.
2nd and 7 from the 23. Motion on to TJ Williams. Peterson on the keeper, breaks through the line of scrimmage, has a first down out across the 30. That's a designed read play for Spencer Peterson. He sees the linebacker run with TJ Williams, so they've got numbers at the point of attack, and it's a first down run out across the 30-yard line.
Yeah, well-designed play by Jesse Scott there as they try to put the North Central defense in a bind.
The thing that's so great about that formation with Spencer and a quarterback is you know very likely what's coming, but it's just like, stop it. Good luck, He runs downhill so well and makes a great read.
Back to pass goes Anthony into the flat for TJ Williams was matched up one-on-one in the flat with Meyerhofer. If he makes that catch and can turn the corner, there's nobody to stop him, and Anthony just led him too far.
Yeah, they obviously like that, and for TJ, if you want to get him involved in the passing game, which is a great idea because you want him as many touches as you can, you got to put the ball right on him. Just give him a chance to catch the ball and make something happen. Don't worry about leading him like you do a lot of other receivers. For him, just put it right on his numbers.
Under center again, give up the middle to TJ Williams into the line. Not much there, stacked up pretty well. Only a yard on the play, maybe not even that. Looked like the initial surge, they had walked off 2 yards, and then they bring it back for little to no gain.
Big 3rd down here. As I mentioned, the North Central defense coming in, ranked number 3 in the country in 3rd down defense, and Wheaton struggling in the first game, better than the second 2 on 3rd down. So 3rd and 9, big play here.
From their own 33, clock is stopped at 49 seconds for some reason. Motion down from Torini. Anthony going to throw it up looking for Nichols. Nichols with a step, and he makes the catch!
What a play.
Shades of the catch he made last year at North Central, and he extends a drive when Wheaton needed it most, across the North Central 40 to the 39.
I mean, it was just Luke Anthony, great job of just standing tall in the pocket with pressure coming. Looks like he just floated it up there and didn't look like it was even remotely catchable, but then laid out, fully extended, makes the grab, secures it, and brings it in. What a play by Philip Nichols.
Well, great play by both guys. The quarterback, Luke, he knew he was getting pressure, he knew he was going to get hit, held it as long as he could, and then put enough air under it, knowing to give a guy, a first-team all-conference wide receiver like Nichols, a chance, and Nichols makes a great catch.
Huge play.
Could be the last play of the quarter here with 13 seconds left, and Jesse Scott doesn't like what he sees as formationally, and he takes his first time out with 11 seconds left. Boy, you can't really overstate how big that third down pickup was, because it turns the field and gives Wheaton a lot of energy when they needed it most.
Well, it's a big deal. You've seen early in this game, the North Central game plan is to bring the safety down, really pack the line of scrimmage, stop T.J. Williams. That's their game plan. You can see it, and over the course of the game, we'll see how that plays out as guys get tired later in the game. So early in the game, it's super important that other players get involved, that your quarterback gets those plays to Nichols. And you've seen Jesse Scott. He's got it in the game plan. He's done it a little bit early. He's trying to attack those safeties and get matchups there, knowing he's got man-to-man on the outside, trying to get those advantages in at the safety or against anytime he gets man pressure. And so making those throws and making those kind of plays are going to be really key in the first half of this game.
Market at the North Central 39 and a first down. Wheaton got as far as midfield last time. This is their first time across midfield today. Second possession of the game. Play fake off of T.J. Williams. Torini's got a step off the stutter at the 5, and that's pass interference. That's face guarding. There it is.
Like the guy, the middle judge is looking right at it and doesn't throw the flag, but luckily the sideline judge caught it and finally threw the flag. But I mean, he just jumped up and face guarded and didn't give the receiver a chance.
The other call is Cremens just grabbed his jersey off the double cut. It was a double move. He was going to kind of try to break in, and then he did a streak past him, and Cremens just grabbed him, and the refs didn't do anything. Fortunately, they got him on the back half of the play. So.
Again, on the replay, I don't know how the guy we see on the replay doesn't throw that flag.
He's 5 feet from the play and doesn't throw it.
We're into a territory now that's going to be super important for the Thunder's red zone offense. Again, we're talking about stats, and we'll take them for what they are, but Wheaton hasn't been great in the red zone. They've been good, not great. North Central defense has been great in the red zone. So they're top 10 in red zone defense in the country.
4 seconds left in the quarter. Anthony will give to T.J. Williams. Spins through one tackle, still going inside the 20. But Wheaton carrying some momentum late into the first quarter, and they will take that to the end of the first quarter as North Central was on the drive looking to really put Wheaton behind the 8 ball. But a penalty and now a huge play from Anthony to Philip Nichols has given his Thunder sideline some life here. 7-0 at the end of the first quarter here at McCully Stadium.
Well, that run right there was classic TJ and shows really his versatility. He's got speed. People see that. He can outrun you to the boundary. He can break your perimeter if you don't take the right angles, even if you do take the right angles. But right there is just pure power and strength. Coach Swider said it on the Insider that nobody realizes this kid is a monster in the weight room. He can bench press and squat a lot of weight, and the power cleans. He's done an really impressive job. He's a physical player up inside, and right there you saw him run through 2 arm tackles of D linemen and then hit a safety and spin and get about 7 yards. That's a physical run.
I was having a conversation with a few alum before the game, and they were talking about TJ and the way that he looks on the field. Clearly an impressive runner, but he doesn't look that big. But he's one of those guys that it's pretty common in the higher levels, NFL, high NCAAs, like they like grow as they walk towards you. TJ's, he's a big dude, but he doesn't look that way. And you say squat, he's 190 pounds and squats 550 pounds. That's a guy who's fully capable of running away from you, but isn't afraid to run you over.
So North Central in that first quarter already has run the ball 14 times for 67 yards, and Brock Rudder was 7 of 9 for 89 yards in the pass game.
Already 156 total yards for North Central, already exceeding what Wheaton allows on a weekly basis so far this year.
TJ again had a hole for a second, and he will get close to a first down. It'll be 3rd and a yard as he's pushed back late there on the stretch, running between Rogers and Drew Smith on the left side.
Back to these first quarter stats, you see on the Thunder side, 6 rushes for 33 yards. Luke Anthony, 4 of 7. For 59 yards.
A lot of running ability in the backfield here. Stone Watson and T.J. Williams split. Spencer Peterson out of the shotgun. They walk the safety down on 3rd and 2, showing blitz and showing a lot of it. Under center goes Peterson. And now they're showing blitz right over the center. It's a quarterback sneak. Peterson powers ahead, and it looks like he has the first down. That's great.
Look at that block by Stone.
That's great recognition, though, by Spencer Peterson, knowing that they're going to bring the pressure off the edges, so just get under center and get into the teeth of it before they can get there.
I'm sure that's a call that they have. If they see that look, they make
look
some
at this,
sort
look
of
at this
call.
block by Stone Watson here at the end. Just a pancake block, 10 yards from the line of scrimmage.
And another big Thunder first down.
T.J. Williams in that first quarter, 5 rushes for 24 yards, just under a 5-yard average. Ethan Greenfield, 12 for 60.
Jack Miller, the tight end, will set up to the right side of the line. Nichols inside of Carson Lean, out split to the right. And that'll leave Torini split left. Play clock down to 5 for Luke Anthony. Off in time, first down throw into the flat, looking for TJ Williams. It's a wide open touchdown. TJ is running a wheel route. Anthony thought he was running the out.
Yeah, there was a miscommunication there because he would have walked in had they figured out a way to get it to him. No one was covering him.
And the blocking is for and out because you've got Drew Smith and Rogers releasing into the flat, giving two guys to come down.
It was supposed to be a flat route, no question, because the linemen are down the field.
2nd and 10 from the 14-yard line. And again, the difference between last year's game early was the ability to get the ball into the end zone for the Thunder, whereas the Cardinals had to settle for field goals. 2nd and 10 from the 14. They're going to throw into the flat for TJ. TJ at the 15, 10, close to a first down. We'll see where he stepped out of bounds.
That's what they want to try to do, is get TJ that ball in space, and he did it there, and he's very close to the first down. It looks like it's going to be just short and bring up a 3rd and very short.
3rd and 2 is what they'll mark it at the 6-yard line.
Big 3rd down play here. Big 3rd down play.
TJ behind Luke Anthony out of the gun. Wide receivers tight to the zone. They're going to go into the flat, and Nichols, oh wow, caught the ball, and he's got a first down right at the sticks. Looked like he dropped it. I think if he catches it cleanly, it's a touchdown.
Agreed,
but the bobble at least gets him in the 1st and goal at the 4. And here comes the big package. Michael Gale coming onto the field. Spencer Peterson is split to the right side. And you're also going to see number 86, Luke Heinen, another tight end.
They like the size of Spencer Peterson outside. Obviously, he's going against Lindmark, who is also a big corner. So that's a battle to watch here in the red zone.
1st and goal from the 4. Anthony under center. Give to TJ. Looking for room, trying to bounce it to the left side. Nothing there. Well defended by the Cardinals. He'll get down to the 3. 2nd and goal to go.
I don't like these counter-type plays on the goal line. There's too much penetration and stuff coming on down there. You want to just go one direction and go. You want to either come straight at them and double-team everybody and come straight downhill or off tackle, but these misdirection plays on the goal line are
well, and North Central on both sides of the ball has controlled the line of scrimmage so far today, so I totally agree with you. There's just too much going on, and it takes too much time to develop.
Anthony rolling to the left, complete to TJ Williams. Touchdown, Thunder.
Great job by Luke Anthony there a couple different times, but certainly on that time with a big, tall lineman in his face. He had pressure in his face, and he was able to dump it off.
It looked like that went through Tyler Rich's hands.
Yeah.
Like right between his arms.
I see it on the replay here. He's up
right under his arm.
Right under his right arm. That, that's an underestimated skill. It's really hard to get it through that big guy's arms.
Bose adds the extra point, and Wheaton has tied this thing at 7 with 12-13 left in the first half.
And I think you've seen a glimpse of what this game is going to be for 4 quarters. It is going to be a trudge, a brawl all the way up and down the field for both sides. Neither team really giving up big plays. Really, the biggest play was the long pass play on 3rd down. The North Central had that led to their first score. Outside of that, Beast teams have had to earn every yard they're getting. For North Central, they're executing their game plan on offense just the way they want to. Right now, they've run the ball for 67 yards and passed for 89. 14 rushes and 9 passes. That's the balance that they want. If they can run the ball, they're going to continue to try to pound this Wheaton defensive front and see if they can stop the run. So that's going to be the battle to watch. On one side, to your point, Dan, how is Wheaton going to be able to control the line of scrimmage? There they did a better job on that drive and a couple of times getting what they needed. They're certainly attacking the flats, which is a good place to go when you've got the type of coverage that North Central has on defense. So big battle, just what we thought. It's tied up here in the second quarter.
Bo's kick will go into the end zone again, and they're not going to make the same mistake. The wind blowing a little bit left to right as we checked it down in the field with Cassidy Thornburg. Cassidy, this has been a game of momentum swings, and we'll have to check back with Cassidy here in a few minutes. But that's as big as it gets. The penalty on 3rd down that takes them away from a 4th down opportunity, leading to the sack. This has been huge momentum swings with penalties on 3rd down so far.
Yeah, we got Dallas McCrae's back in the game again for the Thunder, so both sides seem to be healthy, which is a good sign.
No surprise. There's been some hitting in this one. Rudder's been banged up. Kaminsky's been banged up. McCrae's been banged up. 1st and 10 at the 25. Across the middle, wide open is the tight end Egan, who will fall forward a yard shy of the first down. And we haven't seen the tight ends get real involved against the Thunder with North Central, but they've got 2 big guys there at 6'3" and 6'4" that are certainly capable of catching the football and keeping them on schedule.
Well, they throw it to those guys the least of any of them, although they both have 3 catches. One of the tight ends had a big touchdown catch, Egan, against Christopher Newport right down the middle of the field.
Give us to Greenfield on 2nd and a yard, and gets hit hard, but as he has all afternoon, falls forward to the 39 for a first down.
Again, kind of chunk yardage, 4 and 5 yards a pop here. The North Central offensive line doing a great job. Sharmore Clark with a fantastic block right there on one of the Wheaton linebackers, a pancake block that eliminated any option other than getting him the first down.
1st and 10 for Rudder. Wheaton's going to show blitz with Wyatt Lee. He's going to come. Rudder steps up into pressure, and it's dropped by Blake Williams, who had a step past Spencer Rowland underneath. But they brought extra pressure here. That's going to be big as they try to get Rudder off his mark, and you got to stop him from climbing the pocket.
Well, and so far in this game, the tail of the tape has been what we talked about. Is we didn't see Holiday and McCrae in their own, in the face of their own linebackers here. So credit to North Central's offensive line for controlling the line of scrimmage, and those guys have been so disruptive so far this year, but not today.
Right side and coming downhill quickly was Caden Sigler, who makes the tackle right at the point of the catch for Kaminsky, and 3rd and 5 here for the Cardinals.
They are all over Kaminsky today. They know when the ball gets in his hands, he's good at chewing up yardage. So they're at the point of attack. That's the 2nd time he's been popped right as he caught the ball.
And Sigler got his hands right in on the catch point too, trying to knock that ball out before he could secure it. Big 3rd and 5 here from the 44.
Big opportunity for the Wheaton defense to get off the field.
In the middle of the pocket, underneath, Kaminsky makes the catch, has a first down just across midfield to the 49 before Herbert, Kennedy, and Lee can surround him and bring him down. You talked about 3rd down. North Central's been very good on 3rd down so far today.
Well, if you give them 3rd and anything less than 6, that's super hard to defend this offense with all the weapons that they have. You got to try to stop the first down run, put them in long yardage, try to get them behind the chains for those 3rd downs.
They mark it at the Wheaton 49-yard line. Play fake off of Greenfield into flat to Kaminsky, who turns it inside the block as Kennedy just pushed the block outside of him, and he plows ahead for 3-4 yards. Robbie Schwartz finally making the tackle for the Thunder. Letting them play in the interior line. Seeing on both sides, a lot of jerseys trailing defensive linebackers or defensive tackles after they make their way past the block. 2nd and 7 from the 46. Greenfield again running to the right side. Lee was able to get through and slow him down a bit, but again it's 3rd and 5, just where they were last time, and it's an area where North Central still has everything on the table.
And here's where this is a chess match here. Do you come up and play bump man and blitz him, try to get the ball out of his hands and see if you can get a stop? Do you play zone and try to break on it? If they play zone, they're going to throw some sort of curl or stop route like you saw in the last couple 3rd downs. If they come and blitz them, they may try to take a shot here. So see what happens.
Trips to the left side, so they roll the safety over to the trip side.
It's man-to-man.
They're bringing pressure. And it's tipped up in the air and almost intercepted by Daniel Herbert. And if Herbert can get to that ball, there's no one left to catch him. So the Wheaton defense comes up big when they need it most. C.J. Nightingale dials up the pressure.
O'Connell gets his hand on it.
Really, really, really good play call by C.J. Nightingale to dial it up there, just as you said, Doug. You just got to make them make a play, and Pat O'Connell was able to get his big body in front of a football and knock it down. But big stop right there to get North Central off the field.
The key is you've hit Rudder a few times, so he's starting to think about that, and he wants to get the ball out of his hands.
High snap gets back to Deslich. Very short punt. Going to bounce at the 19 and straight out of bounds where it lands. We'll have an interview with C.J. Nightingale coming up during the halftime break. Stay with us at halftime. We've got the Hall of Honor induction ceremony featuring a couple of former Thunder football players and Dan Price and James Hawksworth. And then we'll have an interview for you with C.J. Nightingale as well.
I spent a good time my freshman year in the ice bath as a result of playing against Big James Hawksworth. I mean, that guy was as good a lineman as Wheaton's had in a very, very long time, as a 2-time All-American and just a good guy.
Outstanding player.
Just spent a lot of time in the ice bath and on the ground because of that big moose.
1st and 10 from the 16. Anthony off a play fake. A lot of time to throw. Rolling to his right. Still with time. Now he's going to run it outside the 15, and he's escorted out of bounds at the 19-yard line. The right tackle there for Wheaton, Clay Wagner, just laying on him, making sure he gets that pancake of Dan Gilroy.
He laid there for quite a while, too.
The old deadweight block. Anthony ultimately only gets 1 yard on the rush.
Every offensive line coach calls that a pancake. Every defensive line coach calls that a hold.
8:30 left here midway through the second quarter. Tie game. Trips bunch to the left side. They will pitch outside to T.J. Williams. Well defended, and North Central all over that play.
Again, you got those safeties coming down, and so you have to do something to loosen those safeties up. I mean, you have Cremens, who's a safety, in the backfield there. Actually, Greenfield's the outside linebacker, and then Cremens coming right after him. Both of them are in the backfield.
There was no bite on the run fake to the near side. They clearly had that play scouted because all the flow went to the pitch side despite the pulling guard coming away.
Sorry, that was Zach Greenberg on the initial hit there in the backfield.
Greenberg, a starting free safety for the Cardinals last year. So it's a loss of 3, 3rd and 12. 4-man rush on 3rd down. Anthony well protected. Going to dump it out to T.J. Williams. T.J. to the 20, out to the 25, and it saves a first down by Greenberg.
Yeah, that's what you talked about right there, Doug, is Greenberg was not expecting that speed when he took that angle, but just made a really, really nice adjustment and took T.J. Williams out the legs to make a great tackle.
They had Greenberg dropped into coverage as a safety there. And he saves that drive for North Central because if TJ not only breaks that tackle, he's turning the corner and he's up the sideline for a big play. So it'll be up to Bickle, who pinned him at the 2 previously.
2 great plays by Zach Greenberg, last 2 plays. Really great plays.
And again, Wheaton showed fake last week against Milliken for a big play. Torini will motion to the far side. Bickle's going to send this one away. And it is a high spiraling kick. Going to bounce at the 40. That's not his best effort. It is down at the 43-yard line. We've not seen too many subpar punts from Bickle, but that's certainly one of them this year.
We got a doozy going here. 7-7 game, 7 minutes left in the second quarter. Everything as advertised right now. We got Brock Rudder and company with their best field position to start a drive of the day. So the Wheaton defense will have their work cut out for them on this drive here.
Yeah, this is a big drive for both teams here. If Wheaton's able to get them off the field and get the ball back into the offense's hand, you can really turn the momentum of the game, getting the ball back at half again.
Rudder going to roll to his left, taking time, taking space, and now he will run and slide down shy of the 45-yard line. Wheaton all over the routes, but nobody facing the quarterback. And so they'll mark the knee down at the 40.
Yeah, what happens is Schindeldecker is doing what he's supposed to. He thinks it's a run play. There's a puller. He's supposed to go under that block.
That's a terrible spot based on what we just saw in the replay. The ball marked about 3 yards behind where the knee went down for the quarterback. 2nd and 3 from the 48-yard line. Play fake for Rudder. They're trying to take the big shot. He's looking up top. Got a man with a step. It's Williams. Goes up and over Schwartz. It's pass interference, and it's a touchdown anyhow. Schwartz was beat. Williams is too big, and he goes up and over Schwartz, and not sure he wasn't shaken up on that play as well.
Well, it's a matter of time before they took that shot. Coming into the game on paper, you know that's a matchup you're going to want to try. You have 6'5" Blake Williams going against 5'8" Robbie Schwartz, and the size advantage is really massive. Even in his zone coverage, which he was there, he's running in what's a cover 4 or 2 deep zone. The safety's really got to know that safety to the field has got to be over the top of that to give Robbie help, and he just didn't get there in time. Great job by North Central to protect it and then to execute it.
Takes just 42 seconds for the Cardinals to cover those 55 yards, and they take a 14-7 lead.
Yeah, that's got to be a matchup that they're going to like and they're going to go back to. Blake Williams is really a tall receiver and has done a great job taking over for Cam Moore, the transfer. Blake comes in and has now caught a couple balls. That one's a big one. He's their second leading receiver coming into the game. He had 17 receptions and 2 TDs coming into this game, and he's just added to that.
Well, it's not very often either that Wheaton has kept Spencer rolling against the bigger receivers when they've had the option, so it's not often that they're going to get that matchup, especially moving Robbie Schwartz to the other sideline. A lot of times it is Roland taking the big receiver and taking the far sideline, and this time they just caught the matchup right when they needed it. the plus for the Thunder, that comes in 42 seconds. Plenty of time to still tie this thing up at halftime, and they get the ball out of the halftime break. But you've got to be careful about this drive now. Make sure you don't give Rudder too much time in giving him the ball back. Deslich, 4 touchbacks so far this year. He'll try to get his 5th, kicking into a slight breeze here right to left. End over end, this will be Stone Watson from his own 5 on the right side. Trying to get to the right hash. He does, across the 25, and now just pushing the pile forward. Sheer willpower from Stone Watson to get another 3 yards.
I mean, at some point, these guys flying in and jumping on the pile, there's got to be, I mean, they didn't hit anybody. They're just jumping on people. At least they should not get an assisted tackle. That's what
pile jumping.
There's about four layers of tacklers between the last guy coming in here.
That's what we call a JOP. It's a jump on pile. These DBs and guys try to get on the stat sheet by jumping on it and hope their stat guy up in the box sees them get off the pile and give them a credit.
1st and 10 from their own 29 for the Thunder. Trying to tie this thing up again, trailing 14-7. Give is to T.J. Williams. T.J. is going to be hit at the line of scrimmage by Tommy Highland.
Won't go down.
Nice job at the line of scrimmage. Look, North Central in this first half has done a good job either neutralizing and or winning the line of scrimmage. Right here, Ziegler kind of standing things up and making them come, and then Tommy Highland beats the left guard, Southall, and comes down the line and makes the play.
2nd and 9 from the 30. Again, TJ's a patient guy, so those backside blocks have to hold to give him time to find the hole to get through. 2nd and 9 from the 30. Anthony well protected. Anthony now going to be pushed out of the pocket, climbing across the 30, and he'll be rolled forward to the 34. So it'll be 3rd and 5 coming up.
Great coverage in the secondary there. Nowhere to go. Good protection. Plenty of time. Just nowhere to throw the ball, really, on both sides. Nice job by Luke to actually get a few yards and make it a short, manageable 3rd and 4.
Isaiah Ziegler making the tackle for the Cardinals. Big sophomore, 5'10" and 314 pounds. 3rd and 5 against a 4-man rush. It's completed. Great presence to throw that ball low to Phil Nichols. Put it where only Nichols could go down and get it, and he slides for the catch and a 1st down.
Really nice job there, keeping his hands under the ball. The North Central coaches are yelling for an incomplete. They're just trying to lobby the officials. That was clearly a complete ball.
So it gets them out to the 40, but most importantly, buys them some extra time that they don't have to give number 9 the football back. 1st and 10 at their own 40 as TJ into a lone back set. Been very much bottled up by the Cardinals so far in this game. Straight ahead play fake. Deep in the pocket is Luke Anthony. Now he will climb. He's got room to run, and he slides down. And that could be targeting. This is going to have to be an interesting one to watch. Anthony has set himself up for pressure.
I don't know, man. That's another one of those things where
I would not call that targeting.
That he starts his to slide so late, and that's one of those things where you penalize the speed of the game, in my opinion. Right, Brian Beauchamp. Good football player, senior. He's coming in to make a play.
It's helmet contact, so it's a penalty.
But he's going down to the ground, right? He's not.
That's targeting. They called targeting.
Yeah,
so he's gone.
I don't think that's a good call. But who was the defensive player?
Brian Beauchamp.
Yeah. That did not look like targeting to me. It looked like helmet-to-helmet contact. We'll see. Get a look at it here on the replay as he comes in.
Helmet's down.
He lowers his helmet.
Yeah,
Helmet's down. That is targeting.
He lowers his head.
So Beauchamp's gone for the game.
That is definitely so I stand corrected. You can't lower your head like that and go after a quarterback who's starting to slide.
That is a call that can be reviewed at halftime.
They have to.
They'll look at that, and that ejection will stand.
Yeah.
He's gone for the game.
Storm Simmons is the backup, a 6'1" junior out of Bloomington, Illinois. The penalty moves the ball across midfield to the North Central 43-yard line, and Anthony stays in the game under center. He has taken some hits this year. Pitch out to the left side for TJ Anthony. Well blocked up, explodes across the 40. We're through a tackle at the 30. Every week we see it, but that one-step explosion from TJ Williams is just so impressive. Also need to mention the play before, Talia Alyan shaken up and off the field behind the hit.
Just watch on this replay right here. You see the patience of TJ, and then he makes that one cut and slips underneath a block, and he's just gone.
And there's two players that are unblocked that are there to make the play, but he just runs by him.
TJ again going to take this one on the carry, and he's going to be brought down from behind. Unblocked man coming off the right edge as they tried to run that off the left side of the center. TJ falling forward for a yard or so. 2nd and 9.
Brandon Griefelt into the game and the defensive line to give Ziegler a blow here.
And Ziegler was shaken up a little bit after the Williams run, and now he's going to be replaced. Barely gets to the sideline before he drops to a knee. Seen a lot of attrition on the defensive lines of both teams in this game. It's been a war, not surprising. 2nd and 9 from the North Central 28. Anthony back to pass. They bring pressure late. Is well protected, completed to Caleb Brink. Shy of the 20 at the 21, sets up 3rd and short.
Caleb Brink, that's his 2nd catch on the year.
Had his first last week for a first down against Milliken.
Big receiver out of Holland Christian over in Michigan.
This is where Luke Anthony needs to be smart enough to pump the brakes on the offense. You've got 3rd and 2, but take advantage of the time that you have on the play clock. Don't give North Central any possible extra seconds.
Big conversion here. You need to get a first down. Keep this drive going.
Shotgun for Anthony. Pressure for North Central. Quick hitter, and it's off the shoulder pads of Caleb Brink, who was jammed at the line by Zach Greenberg.
He's going to kick a field goal here, I would guess. That's Coach Swider's pretty conservative generally.
Oh, I think he's asking Jesse if he's got a call, and Jesse
will always have that call.
They're going to send out the field. Keep in mind, they get the ball back to start the second half, so I think that probably weighs into this call quite a bit.
What win there is will be at the kicker's back. This will be about a 38-yarder.
From the left hash. Bose was good from 39 last week. That was his career long. Good snap, good hold, plenty of distance, and it hit the left upright and bounced off.
Doinked it.
Bose has been awfully friendly with the left upright this season, and that's a missed opportunity. And now if you're North Central, you've got to look to get aggressive. All 3 timeouts, 2:26 is more than enough time for this offense.
That is something that just has to be figured out quickly. I mean, when you have an opportunity to put points on the board well within the kicker's range, I mean, that had plenty of range. That ball has to go through the uprights.
Big
a huge missed
here.
opportunity.
Big possession here. 2:26 to go. 14-7 Cardinal lead going into half. Wheaton defense has got to try to get a stop here somehow.
First down says a lot about what North Central is going to try to do here. If they're successful on first down, they might press the gas. At the 21, give to Greenfield. Does not have a hole. He's going to push the pile for a gain of a yard or 2. Bodies flying everywhere. They'll mark it at the 23, looks like.
The full playbook is available to North Central with 2 timeouts and 2:10 left here on the clock.
Again, stay with us at halftime. We'll have the Hall of Honor induction ceremony for you here, followed by an interview with C.J. Nightingale, the defensive coordinator. 2nd and 7 inside of 2 minutes left. Rudder faces 4. He's looking right across the middle. Broken up from behind by Caden Sigler. Boy, that's a big punch from behind from the senior out of Grand Rapids. And here's a big, big 3rd down from their own 24-yard line.
Really great play there to throw it to the big guy. That's a classic route. They run Kaminsky into the flat to spread, widen the zone, and run a curl route to Blake Williams, and he's breaking on a nice job by Sigler.
Well, keep in mind they're going to punt into the wind, and the last punt did not have a ton of distance. So if you're Wheaton and you can get off the field right now, you should have a short field with 2 timeouts left. Also keep an eye on Wheaton calling timeout if they get the stop here and the clock continues to run. Motion from the running back, looking to it. They're going to set up a screen backside. Well recognized by Wyatt Lee, who knocks it loose. Wyatt Lee was all over the read. The only guy there that could make the play does, and it stops the clock and gets Wheaton a 3 and out.
Watch this replay. He sees it early, and he runs before the lineman can get there. He runs across the face of the 2 linemen. It's so important when you read that to break on it.
Yeah, go.
You can't wait because those linemen are coming for you. They know who you are. Great play there by the linebacker.
First 3 and out of the day for the North Central offense.
Into the wind, so I would probably move my kick returner up a little bit.
Wind gusting a little bit here. Deslich going to drive this one. Great tight spiral, going to be caught across at his own 34. Room for the return. Nichols angling to the near side. Gets a block that's going to cost him yardage. Boy, I don't know. Flags in the middle of the field as well. I don't know. Ben Locos got across the front of the block.
Yeah, but the angle was just bad. You can't make that block. It's just a bad angle. That's a block in the back.
Yep.
Man.
It's the right call. If you just can't be that aggressive.
And that's going to hurt the Thunder.
But the field judge flag thrown in late. I don't know if that's a JOP from the official, isn't it? I
he
mean,
wants in on it.
I thought it was a second penalty. It came like 5 seconds after the first one.
Probably getting observed since it's a big game, so get your stats up.
I mean,
Officials are trying to get postseason jobs as well. So Wheaton, instead of starting at the 43, will start at the 33. It's actually the 32. 2 timeouts, 96 seconds left. Plenty of time here. Wind at their back, looking like a cover 3 look for the Cardinals. Long mesh from Anthony. Anthony's going to be brought down from behind. Very athletic play made there.
as a corner blitz, they bring number 1 off the corner. And
just takes too long on the option here.
Well, he's being blocked by the tight end. He just beats him. And then T.J. Williams head goes to block. He beats 2 guys. You can't let a small DB beat 2 blockers to get a sack.
And now if you're Wheaton, I think you probably take this thing into halftime. Loss of 7. Slow play call coming in from the sideline.
Well, you run a draw or some sort of thing, get it to T.J. But
North Central with all 3 timeouts left, dropping him back to the 25. You might see him use it here. This is T.J. Williams. He's going to be brought down at the line of scrimmage by Dan Gilroy. And sure enough, North Central going to call a timeout. A gain of 3 there, so it'll be 3rd and 14 for the Thunder. So this is going to be a big play. You've got to move the ball at least 10 yards here to really be able to turn the field and make Brock Rudder work here down the stretch. Even though the temptation is going to be to turn around and hand it off and cost them their second timeout.
Yeah, so 14-7 game here, under a minute to go. The challenge is you don't do anything big here because you got to make sure they use their last timeout. Right?
Second.
Their second
Both teams
timeout.
with 2 remaining.
You got to make sure they use a second timeout. So your play call is pretty important right here, that you want to keep the clock running at the end of this play regardless of the result.
Nickel package on. That's the sophomore D-back, Julian Bell, who had the sack on first down, giving them an extra defensive back. 2 high safety look, showing man-to-man.
Ion is back in the game, so he's all right.
Wide receivers flip sides around Luke Anthony. 3rd and 13. Handoff to T.J. Williams. T.J. with a burst across the 35, brought down at the 37, and North Central uses its second timeout. So you get 8 there on 3rd and 13.
And that's a right play because that's a kid who he breaks 1 tackle and he could easily pick that first down up. So, and we saw that he did it against Milliken on a 3rd and 14 or something like that. They handed it to him and he picked up the first down. So that's the right call. Make him use that extra timeout. Now you got your punter punting with the wind at his back. Try to pin him down here deep. If you can get it inside the 20, be a heck of a punt. Cover this thing, and then that'll determine how conservative North Central is going to be going into the half.
Bickle's punted 14 times this year. He's one of the top 5 in the nation, averaging over 43 yards a kick. His long is 56. 9 of his 14 punts have been inside the 20, and so this, how the rest of the half will play out lies on the foot of number 9, John Bickle here. Motion comes across the formation to Tarini. Snap is back to Bickle, and Bickle gets a low kick. A lot of room for Kaminsky. Kaminsky looking for a seam, breaks a tackle. He's going to get to the 35-yard line. Wheaton trying to stand him up and strip it. Not enough hang time there to get the coverage unit down, so 35 yards and a man down for the Thunder. Slow to get up at the end of that play. Looks like Grant Miller, actually. Had a lot of guys down after plays in this first half. It has been a physical first 30 minutes of this game.
Well, you got 14-7, 36 seconds. Pretty good field possession, so I would think they're going to take a shot here with Brock Rudder. He's got another timeout.
That's Peterson. That's Spencer Peterson.
Yeah, he's a personal protector, and he's limping pretty bad. That's a leg injury. That's bad news.
That takes away both, your protector as well as if Wheaton had any kind of, all the fake punt menu relies on having 15 back there as well as a large portion of Jesse Scott's offensive menu. And Peterson not putting any pressure on that left leg. Mike Schauer down there on the sideline, probably in as much concern as anybody else as Peterson limps to the sideline.
really unfortunate for that kid.
Man.
Does such a great job for the Thunder in so many areas. And you saw the fake punt last week against Milliken was a big play in that game where he took it right up the middle, obviously on the Wildcat, and he's able to throw it. He is the backup quarterback, of course, for the Thunder.
So we'll see what North Central chooses to do. And they might be starting 1st and 5, even though there was 2 defensive ends that came across the line first. Not sure.
I think they're good. It looked to me like the right tackle flinched.
What? Nope, they're going to give it to the defense. You don't normally see both defensive ends come across like that unless somebody does flinch. So that'll move the ball to the 40. 36 seconds left, 1 timeout for Brock Rutter.
Bachneck was just trying to draw the penalty. He saw those guys jumping, so he jumped to force the official's hands.
1st and 5, 1 timeout. Schindeldecker forces him to step up. It's complete out to the flat to Corey Blair, who will get out of bounds for a 1st down into Wheaton territory at the 47-yard line.
It's a lot of yards. I mean, you know, that's what they're going to attack the flat. They're going to send those. They're going to send somebody out there because the Wheaton corners are going to be running off, protecting for the big play.
The long for Deslick so far is 23 yards.
It'll be back into the wind if it ends up as a field goal attempt. So
1st and 10, and it is incomplete over the head of Corey Blair. Coverage from Robbie Schwartz.
Taking a shot down the field there into deep coverage. I mean, that's the one thing the Thunder probably remember from last year, and I doubt they're going to give up that kind of play, although we've seen stranger things here. So would love to see a big play from this defensive line at this point. I know they're just rushing 3 here, but Schindeldecker and Patrick O'Connell would love to see them get something.
Have to figure another 20 yards before you feel comfortable kicking the ball into the wind. They will give to Greenfield on the draw. Greenfield with a seam. Greenfield tackled. That's a big tackle made there inside the 40 by Caden Sigler. And North Central will use their last timeout. It'll be 3rd and 2. But Sigler makes a tackle they desperately needed because he's got extra yards on the sideline if he can't make that tackle.
So here you're talking about what do we do to pick up the 1st down and then get up and spike it. Or they don't have to spike it because they will stop the clock to reset the chains. It gives them time to get set. So
certainly the spike is the best option given that they don't have enough time to really go through all 4 downs.
The best option is to call 2 plays in the huddle. You just call 2 plays in the huddle. If you get the 1st down, you just line up and run the 2nd play, and that is what it is. And it could be an RPO or something that gives them a little, Rutter puts the ball in Rutter's hands, which is likely what they're going to do. I'm guessing they'll call 2 plays in the huddle. If they convert, they'll run up and try to, as soon as the ball's blown into play, run the next one. Something that's going to be out wide to get the clock stopped.
3rd and 2. We'll see if CJ Nightingale, dials up pressure. Maybe force Rutter to get it out quick.
He's got 4 defensive linemen in there. It's not the nickel look, which is 3 defensive linemen.
4 wide receivers. Pressure comes from Wiley. He timed it perfectly, but it's a handoff to Greenfield, and he's not going to have it. So I think North Central is going to, I would assume, get to the line and throw the Hail Mary.
They don't have a timeout, so
it's 4th and 1. They can't spike.
Back up, guys. Everyone's got to just get back.
There they go. They back up right at the last second. Rutter well protected, chased out by O'Connell. O'Connell from the backside, going to bring him down. And Pat O'Connell with a sack to end the first half.
Great job by Pat O'Connell to get there. He has this habit of taking his helmet off after plays. He needs to stop that. But what a play to finish the half right there. Good job by Wheaton to hold serve. I mean, you would have liked to see them, get more points on the board with the opportunities that they had. But to get the ball back at half, it's going to be back to where it's exactly what we thought. It's a game. It's a war. It's a battle for yardage.
It's a battle. It's
a battle of attrition.
North Central 14, Wheaton 7. Stay with us here at the halftime break. We've got the Hall of Honor induction ceremonies coming up after that. We will have an interview with defensive coordinator CJ Nightingale. You're watching the 101st all-time meeting between North Central and Wheaton and the battle for the Little Brass Bell here on WTSN.
Inches that continues to stand today. 48 years later, for many years, he also held the second oldest record for the Wheaton men's track and field program with the school's indoor triple jump record, a mark that he held for 45 years until it was broken by Shola Olateju in 2017. Today, he is an assistant coach for the Thunder track and field program and served as a coach for Olateju, the athlete who broke his indoor record. Lane also established school records in the long jump, as he currently has the program's 6th ranked mark in the event. He resides in the Chicagoland area with his wife Stephanie, and the couple has 3 grown children. Lane stays busy in retirement as an accounting teacher and as an assistant track coach at Wheaton College. He also is a volunteer CFO for One Way Ministries in Aurora. Lane Malmquist. Next we have Dan Price. Running back Dan Price was a second-team All-American pick by D3Football.com in 2003. He was an integral part of Wheaton's 2003 CCIW championship team that was 12-1 and advanced to the NCAA Division III quarterfinals for the first time in program history. A 2-time first-team All-CCIW selection, Price established a new single-season rushing record for Wheaton with 1,262 rushing yards in 2003. His 2003 season now ranks 4th in the program's single-season record book. He ran for 2,207 yards with 30 touchdowns in his 4 seasons at Wheaton. He was a member of 3 Wheaton CCIW championship teams in his 4 seasons, with NCAA playoff appearances in 2002 and 2003. Dan resides in Castle Rock, Colorado, with his wife Tricia and their 4 children. He is the founder and principal of Keystone Experts and Engineers, a consulting organization that specializes in forensic engineering. Dan Price. Our next honoree is Katie Shubin, joined by her head coach, Pete Felsky. A 3-time All-Region selection for the Wheaton women's soccer team, Katie Shubin scored 30 career goals with 23 assists in her 4 seasons. She made an immediate impact on the program when she arrived, earning the team's Offensive Player of the Year as a freshman in 1998. Katie was a starter on 4 NCAA tournament teams, including as a team captain in 2001, as she helped lead the program to its first NCAA Division III Final Four appearance. The midfielder ranked 4th in total points with 83 at the time of her graduation, and she was 4th in career goals with 30. She was tied for 3rd with 23 assists at the time of her graduation. She remains active with the Wheaton women's soccer program, traveling with the squad regularly when the team makes international sports ministry trips. Katie currently resides in Pasadena, California, and is a physician assistant at Azusa Pacific University's Health Center. Katie Shubin. Our next honoree, Joel Colmaden, is unable to attend today. Joel Colmaden was named the 2002-2003 CCIW Player of the Year as a junior for men's basketball and was also selected as an NABC Division III All-American that season. Additionally, he was a 2-time D3Hoops.com first-team All-American. The center averaged 17.2 points per game and 8.9 rebounds per game, which currently ranks 4th in program history. Today, Joel is a surgeon specializing in pediatric orthopedic surgery in Duluth, Minnesota. Joel Colmaden. Our final honoree, Jeremy Tollison, is also unable to attend today. Jeremy Tollison was selected as the 2002 CCIW Player of the Year in men's soccer as a defender and also won the award as a midfielder in 2004. A 3-time All-CCIW selection, Jeremy was an NSCAA All-Region selection in both 2002 and 2004. He played in 85 matches over 4 seasons with 4 goals and 12 assists, primarily as a defensive player. Today, Jeremy is a high school history teacher in Honduras. Jeremy Tollison. Ladies and gentlemen, please give this year's Hall of Honor inductees one final round of applause. A ceremony honoring the Hall of Honor inductees will take place at the Krauser Sports Complex outside King Arena following the football game.
Joined with defensive coordinator C.J. Nightingale ahead of this week's battle for the Little Brass Bell. And C.J., obviously you're no stranger to this game. You've played in it as a student. As you prepare for it as a coach, you get a lot of those emotions coming back again?
Absolutely. I mean, even as someone that was gone for the last couple of years, watching the game in the week leading up to the game, you just get those goosebumps. And it means something to so many people here on campus now and past, and I'm sure it's going to mean a whole lot to people in the present. And so you get the goosebumps, you get the feeling of excitement, because it's not just a rivalry game in the area. I mean, it's 2 great football teams going after it.
Obviously, an alum here. Catch those of the people who are familiar with the program and familiar with you. This being your first year here, what has been the process kind of leading up to you getting back here to Wheaton and the years in between?
Yeah. You know, it's been kind of a roller coaster ride. I always knew I wanted to coach, but I didn't know which direction I wanted to go in. My dad has always coached high school football, and so after graduating, I kind of went that route with my teaching degree and taught in history and coached high school football in Indiana for a couple of years. But I knew that, football is where I wanted to be as a full-time job, and was thankful and lucky enough to be able to get a job as a college coach down at Greenville College for 1 year. And then obviously Jordan Lang's close friend, and obviously someone I'm very thankful for, gave me the opportunity to join him at Indiana Wesleyan when he moved over there. And those 2 years being with him was so helpful and so impactful on my growth, and working with him and his freedom, allowing me to do a lot of the stuff, prepared me to, when this opportunity opened up, to felt really called that God wants us to go back to Wheaton. And Coach Swider obviously felt something to allow me to do that, and whether it's crazy or stupid on him to give me the reins, but he did, and I'm thankful for it. But a lot of preparation from a lot of great people, and I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, take us through the interview process. I mean, what was that like, kind of preparing yourself to take over a role that you've watched as a player?
I will say this, that I've been nervous for 2 interviews in my life, and both times they were interviews with people that I look up to and trust. The first one was with Jordan, and the second one was Coach Swider. You don't want to screw up, you don't want to mess up, you don't want to look bad, because it's kind of a reflection of who they are in terms of teaching you and coaching you and leading you and mentoring you. And so that was the first thing. Going through the interview processes, I was just nervous as all get out, just because I didn't want to do a bad job. And I think that showed at times, but it also, I know Coach Swider said, it's like it showed that you cared and you wanted it. And so going through the process was, whether it was the phone conversation, whether it was on campus, just the feeling of, and I told Coach Swider this right after I finished up the on-campus interview part, was like, it felt like coming home. It was like a second home again. It felt like the people were there, they were friendly, they remembered me, I remembered them, and it was just that feeling of home again. And I was just very, very thankful for that feeling. Regardless of if I was going to get offered the job or not, I was thankful for that opportunity and feeling.
How has the transition been as you come back into the program now and taking over a defense that, like you said, had been in good hands and nationally competitive, and kind of putting your own brand on that?
I think that's the most important thing, is me spending time with Jordan and me knowing JJ, and that it's very similar, whether it's schematically or verbiage-wise. That transition made it easy. There's some twists, there's some tweaks that I have, my personality goes on to it, but they were in great hands. I mean, Coach Langs is an elite head coach now. Coach Clark is an elite defensive coordinator. I mean, what they do and what they've done whether it's with this defense or me in my career, has really set me up for this transition to be smooth. And then the other thing is we have great players and we have great assistant coaches that work their tails off. I mean, when you look at the senior class that we have defensively and even some of the returners that are underclassmen, they work hard, they want to win, they want to be successful, they're highly motivated guys. And then when you have a staff like Coach Sneebold, Coach Jackson, Coach Brady, Coach Intersagan working around, Coach Spielman helping out, when you have a group of guys like that are into it, it's awesome, and you can lean on them for a lot of help.
Knowing you had that kind of talent coming back, did that put any additional pressure on you stepping in, knowing that you've got to keep that level?
I have my own set of standards and goals, but I never tried to look into it. All right, let's make sure we're living up to the standard that Jordan and JJ had. That was never the point of it. It was always about, all right, what standard do I have for this defense, and what standard does this defense have for itself? And naturally, I think we have kept the standard at a high level because of that, because the players have played under those two previous guys and me coming in and having a very similar standard. We've just been a beneficiary of a great offense right now, controlling the clock, and us being very opportunist, being able to take advantage of opportunities, and whether it's on third downs or the balls in the air with turnovers. But our standard's not going to change, and it's going to continue to be at high level as long as we can do it.
Take us through the lead up to the Monmouth game there. I'm sure there's a lot of emotions going through just your first game as a DC, but then putting the colors back on and having that feeling of representing the alma mater too.
Yeah, I think I was more nervous for the Taylor one just because of the fact that was the first time I'm really in charge of on the field. But definitely the Monmouth one, it was one of those things. It's like, all right, how are we going to come out? Am I doing a good job motivating and encouraging these guys? Am I doing a good job of preparing these guys? And obviously the results proved that it was. And so it was nervous. I know my wife kept telling me that you're going to be fine. You've done this before. You're okay. And the truth is I had done it before. It just, as Jordan shared with me before I was going through this interview process, it's like, now you're in charge. You have to make the third down call. And that's where you make your money. And I hadn't really had to make the third down call before. And so to have that on my plate now, that's probably the extra added pressure that was fun. And I'm glad that so far it's been good results.
Obviously, you get ready for what could be argued as the best offense in the nation coming in this week. When you look at North Central on tape, obviously number 9 is pretty good, but they've got some skill guys around them. How do you prepare for an offense as high powered as North Central's?
I think Coach Swider said it best. I mean, Brock Rutter, number 9, the quarterback, is not only a 4-year starter, has 10,775 career passing yards already. He controls that offense. He knows where the open guy is. He knows how to read it through his progressions. He does a fantastic job of operating that offense, and Coach Thorne obviously puts a lot of trust in him and making sure that they get aligned right and get the right call in. But it also starts up front. Any great offense, it starts up front. And they got an All-American and Moore, who's a fantastic left guard. They got 2 good tackles, and that right guard has played a lot of different positions for them, but he's a 5th-year senior guy that is obviously trained and ready to go. And so it starts up front. Anywhere, any good offense, Coach Scott would repeat that. Well, it starts up front. They have a great offensive line, and we talk a lot about Brock Rutter. We talk a lot about Andrew Kaminsky as their skill position players, but those 5 offensive linemen are good. It'll be a great challenge for our defensive line, who are as good as it probably gets in the country in their regard. And so to see where they match up is going to be a fun one. But they have skill positions all over the place. They like their number 18 receiver, Blake Williams, and they like that running back. I think Ethan Greenfield runs as hard as any running back we'll see all year, and he's a little different skill set than TJ and Stone in that regard, but he's a good running back that runs hard, and I think he only had 4 negative yard on rushing last year, so that tells me he's falling forward. He tells me he runs the ball hard and finishes his run strong. So it'll be fun.
Wheaton's obviously had some success against him in 4 games. How far back do you go diving in to say what's worked, what hasn't worked against him?
No, I looked at all four games previous that Brock Rutter's played in against us, and obviously a lot of games over the last couple of years. I think what it comes down to for him is because of their concepts and because of what they like to do in the passing game, if he has protection and time to throw the football, he's going to pick you apart. He'll throw for 380, 390, whatever he's averaging. And so we've had success on being able to push the pocket, collapse the pocket, get presence on him, make him move his feet, get him off his spot. And if we can do that, we're going to have success in making him have to make the perfect throw every single time, which he can do already. But if he has time to do it, he's going to just dissect you. So we have to get him off his spot. And at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. Any type of quarterback that can sit there, you just move him off the spot, get pressure, and when we get the opportunity to have a good hit on it, let's have a good hit on it.
Welcome back here to McCully Stadium, where North Central leads Wheaton 14-7 in the annual battle for the Little Brass Bell. These two teams tied atop the conference race, 2-0 in conference. They're the only two undefeated teams left in the conference. So this is, for a lot of marbles, a lot more than usual. And a lot of times you've got a third team up there this early in the conference race. But this is the head-to-head lead in the conference, as well as maybe the top seed in the region if you want to start to push the division down the road a little bit. Doug, you've got to look at the first half stats. What are we looking at?
Well, the stats are a little bit one-sided, but I think if you would ask the Thunder, coming into the game, if they could hold North Central to 14 first-half points, they'd probably take it. Wheaton ran 34 plays for 159 yards, 19 carries, 63 yards on the ground, led by T.J. Williams, 13 carries, 55 yards. That's a 4-yard average. Luke Anthony in the passing game, 10 of 15 for 96 and a touchdown. On the other side, 41 plays for 259 yards for North Central, 21 for 85 on the ground. Ethan Greenfield, 17 for 78. And Brock Rutter, 13 of 20, 174 yards and a touchdown. That's just under 70% when he's coming in averaging 78. So
Wheaton will get the ball first. Stone Watson from his own 7. Outside the numbers on the left side. Watson trying to cut back in, and he's well wrapped up and dropped there. Wheaton's got the best of both worlds here to start the half. They've got a man down, though, at the end of the play. They've got the ball to start the half, and they've got the wind at their back in the fourth quarter. But we're going to have to sort out who the man down is. There has been a lot of bodies down. Both these training staffs have been incredibly active this afternoon.
Again, I think if you look at this game so far, I think North Central's done a great job at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, neutralizing Wheaton's running game to some degree, as well as taking advantage of their own running game. They've really done a good job on the running game, even though they just have 85 yards on 21 carries. Ethan Greenberg hasn't taken a loss. He's taken 17 carries. They've run the ball 21 times and just 20 passes. So North Central has controlled the line of scrimmage, I would say, slightly in their favor. I don't know that they've dominated it, but they've certainly controlled it. They've neutralized Dallas McCray and Jake Holliday, the two defensive tackles. O'Connell and Schindeldecker have done a good job making some plays, and they're going to have to continue to step up. So I think the Thunder are going to have to get the running game going. They're going to have to be more efficient offensively. 7 points is not going to beat a team that's number one in the country in offense, because you can expect North Central to put up some more points. This first drive is going to be really, really critical.
Jackson Schmid, the injury, and this looks like how the first half ended. Cassidy Thornburg is down on the sideline with an injury update. Cassidy, we saw Wheaton's Spencer Peterson being hauled off the field, pretty similar to this. What does his availability look like for the remainder of this game?
He's not going to be coming back into the game today. Talking to a trainer, it's his left leg. So you saw him come off the field earlier in the half, and he won't be getting back in this game.
Wow. Oh, boy. That could have been a game-changing play right there. Tyler Rich had an interception in his hands. Would have walked into the end zone. We tried to get T.J. Williams out into the flat. Similar look that they ran earlier in the game. So you throw that package out the window. You've got to find a different punt protector. There's a lot of moving parts with Spencer Peterson being unavailable for the rest of the game here.
one of the things, you have this bump and run man into the boundary with Torini here. At some point, you got to challenge those corners of doing the bump and run and see if you can run down.
2nd and 4. Give to TJ Williams running to the right side. TJ up the corner. TJ to the 30. Splits a tackle. Still driving to the 40-yard line. First time we've seen TJ Williams find some space today, and it's a big run of 20 yards.
Again, and that's the advantage of that bump and run man, is that defensive back has his back to TJ as he turns the corner here. Great block there by the center Hibben, and he gets out there, and that defensive back's down the field covering the wide receiver, so the safety's coming from the inside, and TJ's just too fast.
Moves the ball out to the 41 on a big drive for the Thunder to start the second half, trying to catch up. And here's Jeremiah Tucker, now the backup quarterback. He's going to read TJ Williams, gives into the middle. So, Doug, we were kind of talking before we came back on the air that if you trust your backup quarterback, Jeremiah Tucker does give Wheaton a very different look than Luke Anthony. He's a very athletic quarterback with a lot of speed to him, so they waste no time. They trust him, getting him on the field.
He's running that Spencer Peterson package. He knows all those plays and those reads. They practice that with him during the week. So with Spencer down, you can look for Jeremiah, who's a great runner, to fill that void.
3 for 3 in that game over at Monmouth, and the ball comes out of his hands very clean if they look to go to the air. Play fake for Anthony. They're looking to go up top. They've got Torini with a step. Torini makes the catch inside the 20-yard line.
And
Doug, Nostradamus there, just asking you shall receive inside the red zone.
No safety help on that boundary wide receiver. You see him just comes off the ball. Safety's covering the slot receiver. Torini, little physical push there at the top of the break of the route. He breaks inside of Beasley and beats him, and a nice throw by Thorson to get in the red zone.
Second exceptional catch by the Wheaton wide receivers corps. 1st and 10 from the 18. Anthony out of the gun. Nichols and Carson lean to the left side. Torini right. Anthony looking right. Looking to the out route. Looking for the tight end, Jack Miller, and it's very well defended there.
I have Luke Thorson on my brain, who was a great Wheaton player. Obviously, his father, Chad, was a teammate of mine, so I like the Thorson family, so I like to mention them even if none of them are playing right now.
That was Tim Meyerhofer all over the out route from the tight end. So 2nd and 10. Again, Wheaton missed another field goal late in the second half, so you wonder if this becomes automatic 4 down. TJ Williams on the draw. Had a hole, now bounces to the outside, spinning, still on his feet, and finally thrown into the sideline.
Just refuses to go down. I mean, you can just tell the lower body strength that he has because he gets hands all over him and just continues to spin and continues to work his feet and just can't bring him to the ground. Tyler Rich is a big dude. Can't get him to the ground.
Big play here. Again, red zone offense. We talked about it at the top. North Central's like number 3 in the country in red zone defense, and the Thunder have struggled in the red zone a little bit. We saw them get down there and miss a field goal in the first half just outside of the red zone. 3rd and 10. This is a big play right here. You can't settle for field goal attempts in this game.
3rd and 10 from the 18. That was the difference in last year's game. Touchdowns against field goals. They bring pressure. It's picked up. Anthony now going to be flushed out of the pocket. Throws it up for grabs for Torini. Incomplete. And now you got to kick it now.
Have to, yep. Can't abandon the field goal game, even though it hasn't been good for Wheaton so far this year. You can't abandon it because you never know when 3 points is going to matter, and that's on both sides, right? If you can't put them on the board, or if you get them, they're too important.
Yeah, you get drives and you settle for field goals. Last year the script was flipped on this. You saw North Central driving the field and settling for field goals with Wheaton scoring touchdowns. Right now this is the 2nd field goal attempt they've had to settle for.
35 yards right hash. Good snap, good hold, plenty of distance from Bose, and that one is no good. Boy, we got a problem.
That's a problem.
It's a massive problem. This should be a 1-point game.
Yeah, those are all makeable field goals. His confidence is clearly shot, and it's going to have to go into your play calling at this point. If you're Jesse Scott, if you've got 3rd and 10 in the red zone, you're maybe not going for the 4th down or for the full 10 yards. You're going for some sort of dink pass, get 5 or 6, and then try to pick it up on 4th, because you're going to have to start going for those in the red zone if your field goal kicker can't pick up these points.
Absolutely huge. And it's never been about distance with Griffin Bose. The distance has always been there. It's been a lot of wide left.
Yeah, he's got a very strong leg, so that is certainly not the issue. So big challenge here for the Thunder defense coming out. They limited Brock Rudder to 259 yards on the Cardinal offense and 14 points. They're going to have to do even a slightly better job here to keep him in it.
It's Greenfield on 1st down, running behind Ricky Sturba, and Greenfield gets the corner, spinning up across the 25 to the 27-yard line. And Ethan Greenfield's running ability was really the biggest element of the North Central offense that gave them a lot of success, keeping the Wheaton defense on the field for a long time in the first half.
Well, and that running play into the boundary, particularly where they block down, and pull 2 linemen, Sharmore Clark's out in front, that was very effective in the first half, and again, picking up 7 yards.
They kept Wheaton on the field for 10 minutes in the first quarter. Wheaton brings pressure here on first down on a delayed blitz. It's picked up. He'll get a yard or two before he's pushed back, so they will force him into third down, but it's third and short. It'll be a yard to go for the Cardinals.
They're bringing their 5 defensive lineman package in right now.
First time we've seen this look, so they want to go one-on-one across the front and look for them to try to bracket Kaminsky if they can. He's inside a twin set right, but they've also got a big body. This is a Jake Hibben-like package for North Central. Give to Greenfield, and Greenfield didn't make it to the 30, but he falls forward and gets it there.
Yeah, he's going to have it.
Yeah, Schwartz came flying forward to stop him. They put another lineman, the backup center, Nathan Gray, in the backfield. And he just falls forward for the first down. It was well read by Schwartz, but
Schwartz got to get his pad level down. You got to get up underneath that shoulder to drive him back. If you're just catching him in your body, he's going to get that first.
Rudder back to pass on first down. Pressure from behind going up the sideline to Kaminsky, running with Herber. Great job by the linebacker to run with the wide receiver and just kind of usher him out of available room there to make that catch.
They stayed with that 5-down lineman package on that first down, by the way. Got pressure on Rudder as he threw it.
Rudder took a huge shot on the first play of the game, was slow to get up, struggling to get around for the rest of that drive, but hasn't got a whole lot of hits since. Andrew Kaminsky missed the play in the second drive after he took a big hit from Schwartz. 2nd and 10 from the 30. Give running to the right side to Greenfield. Pat O'Connell blows it up in the backfield. We said we needed to call Pat O'Connell's name more, and we have.
That's the first time this season Ethan Greenfield's been tackled for loss.
That is correct. Prior to that, he came in today with 239 yards and had never lost a yard this year. He only lost 4 last year.
Which is a testament to their offensive line, and that time Patrick O'Connell just beat the tight end across his face and got into the backfield. The offensive line is who stops penetration. It's not always the running back, although it often is.
3rd and 2. Wheaton brings pressure on Rudder. He's going to drop off underneath to Kaminsky, and the tackle is going to be made in time by Caden Sigler. Nice play by Sigler to haul him down short, even though it's close, but now they bring out the punt unit.
Kaminsky does such a great job after he catches it of fighting tacklers for extra yardage. You see him there. He's battling for those extra yards. First half, he had a couple where 2 tacklers, he spun out, gets the extra yard or 2. That time, Sigler won that battle, brought him down in front of the sticks.
Brock Rudder tried waving the punt unit off there at the as they came running on, but got to play field position here in a 1-score game in a top 10 battle.
Big time stop there by the Thunder defense.
Oh, and a shank punt. Boy, we've
bad
this.
Kick.
Yeah, that's good. That should be near midfield. That sailed over Pete Ittersagen's head, and Pete was standing. Well, that's right about 2-3 yards from where Pete was. Not a bad mark
45
there.
45-yarder.
45-yard line. Yeah. North Central scored from this spot of the field in 2 plays. Wheaton's got to take advantage of that. These kind of field positions don't come around very often in a game like this.
Yeah, this Wheaton offense has got to be efficient moving the ball right here. It's a big drive. North Central defense has done a good job limiting him to 7 points and just at halftime 159 yards.
1st and 10 from their own 44, 4-man front. Give this to TJ Williams, and it is blown up. Heck of a play by the defensive end, Dan Gilroy.
Loss of 7 yards.
Have to assume that's an RPO that just got missed.
Well, and it was just a great play call on the blitz right into the handoff. I mean,
well, that's Rich, the defensive end there, who they must be reading if that's an RPO. So it's either a missed assignment or a misread by the quarterback on that play for him to tackle him in the backfield.
Officially a loss of 5, but you talk about a huge blow to start a drive. That's a big punch delivered there by North Central. 2nd and 15 now from 39. Play fake for Anthony. Out into the flat to Nichols. Spins outside, gets to midfield. So they get 10 back there, and they'll get 11. And 3rd and short.
North Central, when you run what's called an A set 2x2, there's 2 receivers both ways. They're pretty predictable. They like to get out of their bump and run coverage and play a cover 2, a little bit soft with the corners off. And they knew that, so they ran Nichols on a little out route from the slot, running the outside guy off, because the safety's coming for him and gave him a nice little play there.
Beasley makes the tackle, 3rd and 4 at midfield.
I'd
They
go for
bring
Nichols
pressure again
yeah.
into the flat to TJ Williams. Williams stretches the ball forward, going to be very close.
Big decision here by Coach Swider. He
The
punts
line
it
judge
most of the
did
time
not
here.
give did not give him the reach.
No, he did not.
They're going to go for it.
Go for it. Looks like.
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, these are the types of times in these games where you've got to start taking some chances here. And huge point in the game right here. You get the first down, you're still rolling. You don't. You give Brock Rudder his best field position of the day.
4th and a yard. Play clock is down to 7 now.
Timeout.
I think Jesse wants to make sure they get this right. Timeout is called. Wheaton's first of the half.
Now Swider's going to rethink it, and if I know him, he's probably going to turn around and punt it.
I think so too.
We'll see what he does here, but he likes to be conservative most of the time. It's back into the wind, though, so he's probably looking at this saying, hey, if we punt it this wind, which isn't too strong, he's got Bickle, and Bickle already pinned one down inside the 5 going this way in the first half, so that shouldn't really be a factor.
I think normally you think that, but they went and scored on I mean, they would have scored had they not had the penalty on 3rd down on that drive, so
right.
Certainly has to weigh in that you've got to pick your shots here against an offense that can move the ball like North Central, and you've got to keep them on the sideline as often as possible.
Not a lot of stats on the 4th down conversion for either one of these teams, but in terms of the defensive side,
North Central 36% their defense on 4th down,
which is 81st in the country. So that just means teams are going for it a lot on 4th down against them. It doesn't necessarily mean whether they're good or not. This defense is good. And this is a conversion down, so big play here.
Yeah, out of a timeout, you have
Bump
to get
and
this
run,
now.
that's probably going to be pressure. Looks like pressure.
Safeties are walked down, everyone within 5 yards of the line.
I'd be working the slot here to either Nichols or Torini.
They're bringing pressure, they do. Right, like you called it. Doug Nichols breaks the tackle. Nichols is off to the races. 30, 25, 20, 1 man to beat.
That'll do.
4th and 1, all the way to the house, 47-yard touchdown.
That'll do.
Nice play there. Again, you got bump and run man against safeties, and you got your 2 best receivers. The Thunder have done a great job of putting their best receivers in the slot because the 2 best cover guys on the field are the 2 corners. And the other thing is you outside release those guys. When you outside release the wide guys, the bump and run corners have to turn with them, and their backs are to this ball when it's recovered, which allows Nichols to make the break off and beat his guy. And then it's just got to chase him.
Could not have gone better for Wheaton coming out, having to call timeout on 4th and 1, needing to get that first down. I mean, that was just a great play call, but an even better play by Philip Nichols to get the yardage needed and then break 3. I mean, just
gutsy
goes.
call. Coach Swider, as we all well know, he rarely does those kind of calls. He's very conservative in a 1-score game. He clearly knows the championship's on the line. He knows the stakes at play here. Credit to him to give his offense.
Hey, Doug, there's your guy,
Luke Thorson.
There he is.
Luke Thorson does get in on the play.
There he is. He's celebrating on the back of the track with the team there, and I knew I was calling his name for a reason, so apologies to the Anthony family. I know Dave Anthony, Luke's dad, pretty well as well, and they're a great family as well, and Luke's been a fantastic addition to this team, obviously. So we got a tie game, 7:50 to go in the 3rd quarter. It's everything it was billed to be. 2 top 10 programs, 2 top offenses and defenses on both sides of the ball, slugging it out at McCully Stadium. So enjoy. This is going to be a great game down the stretch.
Crowd of almost 5,000 announced this afternoon on homecoming weekend as Bose blows this one into the end zone. Wheaton spoiled North Central's homecoming twice in this series recently. North Central would love nothing more than to return the favor.
And I'm just going to call it right now. We have not had any turnovers in this game, to my knowledge.
Doug's riding a heater in this game.
Yep.
Hit the big one to Torini, calls the slot to the Nichols. Kenny hit the 3rd one.
So there hasn't been any turnovers, nothing like a tipped pass, return for a touchdown.
The ball's been secured. Wyatt Lee had the strip on the near sideline that went into the end zone. Almost the exact place on the field that the Dansdale fumble went into the sideline against UW Whitewater several years back. So 1st and 10 from the 25 for Rudder and company. Looked like the right tackle might have got away with the movement there. They run it to the outside.
patient running by Greenfield, who is ushered to the sideline for a gain of 7.
Really great perimeter blocking by the North Central receivers there. Again, Blake Williams and Giangelo Hardy, 2 first-year guys, really as starters, blocking the perimeter and making it tough.
Hall got away. D'Angelo Hardy with the block there that barely got in front of the block of the body of the defender. Pressure comes on second down. It's picked up by the running back going up the sideline. Rowland turns his head at the last second and breaks it up.
What a play.
What a heads-up play by Spencer Rowland to turn the head at the last minute, knowing if he doesn't, it's face guarding and it's an illegal play in the college game.
I think he got his hand on that.
He did get his hand on the ball, and you know, I thought he did a good job just keeping his hands off him, even though he did not get his head around very quickly. And the refs were all over, to their credit. They did call it in the first half. So refs have been pretty consistent. Jeff Thorne didn't like it. He was obviously lobbying for the call. Nice job by the Thunder defense.
Empty backfield, 5 wide, 3rd and 3. Wheaton's going to bring 4. Rudder into the flat, complete to Kaminsky. First down, just shy of the 40.
Yeah, all day out of the slot. He's just going to take that guy in an option route either way, and that's what you're going to see anytime you have a short yardage play with pressure.
That's one that North Central needed, though, because the momentum was starting to go on Wheaton's side, and with the punting struggles that they've had in this game, Wheaton might have had good field position again if they could have got off the field.
The connection Rudder and Kaminsky have, that just basically is a long handoff.
Greenfield powering into the middle of the line across the 40 to the 42, always driving forward for Ethan Greenfield.
I mean, that's just good running right there. I mean, you see it right here at the surge. He's at the line of scrimmage and just ducks his head and gets the yardage needed.
They're just double teaming. There's 2 big fellas. There's Sharmore Clark, one of the best offensive linemen in the country, with Jared Thornton, 5'11", 302-pound freshman center, and they're double teaming and just getting a push, and he's going in behind it.
Just about to go over 100 yards is Greenfield. He might on this carry. He carries behind Clark and Sturba. He's going to go over 100, and he's brought down right at the 45, so they will need 3 to pick up 3rd down here. But they're pulling both guards. It's Clark and Sturba every time on that look.
Now here it's a little chess match. You know, they're going to run that same play. If you're going to pressure him, he's going to be looking for Kaminsky out of the slot. If you sit back in a zone, he's looking at Blake Williams up top on the curl route. So it's just it's a chess match. They're pressuring.
They looking to the left side, going up the sideline again. It's Rowland who gets beat this time as Blake Williams again. They went jam coverage, and Williams got off the line, and it's brought down at the 20.
Tough matchup. That kid's 6'5", and he does a really nice job. Gets the ball out. Great ball there by Rudder.
Well, the other thing he does, if you watch his right hand, he gets on top of Rowland's arm, so he can't let Rowland get back up like he did last time. And the hard count.
Got to be disciplined, guys. You got to be disciplined down the stretch. When your backs are against the wall, North Central's got a little momentum back offensively, and you just got to be disciplined. Stick to your guns. You get a little tired, you get a little winded. You've been out there a few plays. The Thunder defensive line, they're on the ropes a little bit right now.
1st and 5 from the 15. Trips to the right side, split left is Blake Williams, man-to-man with Spencer Rowland.
Blitz coming
and again, but it looked like the right guard might have gone first that time. Sturbo went pretty early.
Come on, guys. 2 plays in a row.
Wheaton's already backed up thinking they're guilty here.
And these are your 2 best players, too. It's, Dallas McCray, I think, was the first one. Either that or him or Holiday, and then Patrick O'Connell there.
You just have to, like you said, Doug. You've been on the field a while. You just have to settle it down and play assignment football. And this is just pre-snap stuff. You can't do that.
10 yards of penalties brings it 1st and goal at the 10.
Rudder is in total command here. Again, they've been looking at pressure. It looks like pressure again here.
And again, the hard
almost
snap.
Got him again.
Now here they're covering zone.
They've got a tight end walk behind the line. They will hand off Greenfield behind that tight end. Great job by Holiday. Jake Holiday got just enough past the block to grab the legs and hip of Greenfield and hold him to a yard.
Still waiting on that turnover, Doug.
Now you're thinking about potentially dialing up pressure here.
And if you're North Central, if the pressure comes, you've got to watch the outside. Now
well, it's going to be
Williams
Kaminsky in the slot. Kaminsky's going to be running that corner route.
Well, there's no safety help if they want to go on the fade route.
Pass formation, when they set the running back strong, that's usually a pretty strong pass formation for North Central. And that means usually the safety's going to be coming down to jump that running back, and they're going to be man across the board.
And they've got Robbie Schwartz against Blake Williams. Into the slot, complete to Kaminsky. Touchdown, Cardinals. And you can see with the way they react, North Central is hungry to end this little mini bell drought that they've had.
Dallas McCray again getting in, and then the running back off the fake doubles him. Otherwise, he puts a hit on Rudder. Gave him just enough time. Good job by Greenfield to step in there and take some punishment from Dallas McCray, who had beaten Charmore Clark across his face, and allow Rudder to deliver that ball on time. And again, man-to-man in that slot, Kaminsky's got a two-way go. He can stick his foot in the ground and break to the middle, or he can break to the flag, to the corner. It's so hard as a safety to cover Kaminsky man-to-man there. You got to have, and that's part of that is depth for the Thunder. They don't have that extra corner that they feel confident in. They can come and cover him in a slot. So they're putting their best guy, Corey Kennedy. And Corey's a great cover two safety, and he's a fantastic tackler, and he's an All-American player. Covering an All-American receiver in the slot's just tough against that matchup.
So Wheaton answers with a big play on fourth down, and North Central drives right down the field and retakes the lead 21-14. 4:47 left in the third quarter. It's exactly what we thought this would be. This has been a war. And Wheaton's got to figure something out here. Caleb Grodelution unsure of if he's on this unit or not. Finally going to pull Dante Givens off. So again, the wind right now at the backs of the Cardinals.
Would expect this to be a touchback, but if it's returnable, see if Stone can get him some good field position.
The deepest they've got it so far is the 5. This one's not going to make the end zone. It will be kicked away from Watson, so this will be brought up the right side across the 20, cutting back to the 25. Nate Magnuson, who put the ball on the ground in a punt return against Milliken. Gets it out across the 30.
Yeah.
Actually, no, mark him at the 28.
That's a good start for this offense. Again, you got to answer. The North Central gone down now, 21-14 lead, 4:40 to go in the third quarter. Thunder got to make something happen to come back and answer.
TJ Williams, 17 carries, 69 yards in this game, averaging a $132 coming in, showing pressure off the edge. It's picked up well. Luke Anthony going right up the sideline for Nichols. He blows right by his man and makes another diving catch. Man. Jake Beasley knew he was beat. He dove at the feet of Nichols, and Nichols got enough around him. It was actually a heads-up play by Beasley, knowing that he was going to give up the house if he did.
And that's the thing. This North Central defense, they did it last year. They're doing it again. They're locking up man-to-man into the short side of the field with no safety help. And you got to know that guy can take that guy one-on-one. Well, you got a guy who's an all-conference player in Nichols, and Torini is not far behind him, and they've each beat Beasley once in this game.
First and 10 at the North Central 35. Play fake into the flat for Stone. Watson makes the catch and brought down immediately by Tim Meyerhofer. They're showing that look a lot with the running backs. You wonder if they're trying to set up a double move if they can get it.
Well, yeah, you want to fake that and turn him down the rail because, again, what's happening is you got that wide receiver being locked up by Beasley, and then the safety comes right off the edge. He's not even looking at Beasley to help. He's coming right into the flat, and he's looking to help on run support or jump the running back into the flat. It's man-to-man on the backside, and they're zoning the front side with the 3-on-2.
Second and 10 at the 35 following no gain on that play. 3:37 left second quarter, one-score lead for the Cardinals. Anthony steps up in the pocket. He's going to run across the 35, and he slides down. As Greenberg says, I'm not even dealing with it this time. They lost their middle linebacker, Brian Beauchamp, to targeting the last time Luke Anthony takes off.
Well, and that's what you want to see here from Luke Anthony. He steps up in the pocket, starts the run, and then starts his slide early. And he hasn't been doing that, and he's taken a lot of shots this year. And that's
huge
just
play here, 3rd and 6.
Second time today we've seen the spot off by at least a yard when the quarterback slid. The first time with Rudder, it was a lot more egregious than that one. 3rd and 5 from the 31, maybe even 6.
Look for T.J. Williams down the rail.
Trips to the right side. They're going to bring pressure off the edges. They're going up top again. It's Torini. What a throw by Anthony. Man, Luke Anthony is dialed in today. It's complete and out of bounds at the 5-yard line. And Dan Gilroy hobbling off the field here for the Cardinals. Not sure if he's just winded or tweaked something.
Yeah, that time, again, bump and run on the outside. The Thunder feeling a lot more confident in these matchups on the outside. There they challenge Lindmark. Great throw and catch. The receiver stayed inside enough to give him that room to throw him over that outside shoulder.
That's a catch on Sundays, too. Both feet inbounds. Roll to the left side. Throwing up top for Carson. Lean, and he had him, but it's too high. Had Lindmark turned around on that play. Just too high from Luke Anthony.
So hard to throw the ball accurately, rolling to your left. And you can see he had his left foot behind him, which his shoulder is pointed to the sideline. It's just so hard to be accurate. You got to whip that foot around to get that lead shoulder facing at the guy you're throwing at. It's just hard to do running left.
You can see down in that end zone. It's a packed house here at McCully. You've got bodies watching everywhere behind both end zones. 2nd and goal from the 5. Wheaton needs a touchdown to answer here. 2 backs in the backfield with Luke Anthony. They will play fake. Anthony on the keeper, and Anthony going to be brought down quickly. Boy, he had a quick seam, and it was taken away in a hurry. Very heads-up play made by, looks like, see it on the replay here, it's Tyler Rich.
Yeah. Rich is a good player. He's one of the better players on that defensive line. He's very active. He comes into this game with 6 tackles, 1.5 for loss. He and Dan Gilroy both have been pretty active, and the other defensive end, Ion, comes in and as one of their leading sacks guys with 2.
Has to be 4 downs here for Wheaton. Given the kicking woes and you're trailing by a touchdown, I don't think they're going to look to try another field goal.
Key point in the game right here. Number 3 red zone defense in the country.
Anthony looking, and what do we have? Play clock's at 0. I think Wheaton got a timeout called in time. Yep. But that's their second of the half, and it comes with 1:38 left in the third quarter.
You know, it's not a good plan to use your timeouts to bail you out of bad situations. You want your timeouts at the end of the game because that's what they're for. They're at the end of the game to manage the clock and give yourself an opportunity. When you're burning timeouts to save yourself from penalties early in the game, that's just bad clock management.
Yeah. Especially when you know that the game is going to come down to clock management. It's going to come down to important clock stoppage when you have 2 offenses that are just rolling down the field right now.
Right.
Having no problem eating up a defense.
Both quarterbacks are 17 of 26 today. Rutter's thrown for 233 and 2 touchdowns. Luke Anthony has thrown for 259 and 2 touchdowns. Third one would pull Wheaton even at 21-14, and this is a big spot because this is likely probably second down where you would trot Spencer Peterson out there and try a little quarterback power, but you are without Peterson's services for the rest of the game today. As the chess match unfolds here, we'll see if North Central brings pressure. Ball sits at the 5. Carson Lean will split left alongside Caleb Brink and Phil Nichols. Brink's a guy that they haven't used a ton, but he's 6'5", so he's a big target. Split right is Torini. Man coverage, safeties walk down.
Pressure comes.
Anthony's looking left. He lobs it up, looking for Nichols. Touchdown, Thunder!
Just great throw and catch.
Ref has not called it.
The guy in the back has.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he has.
I didn't see the line judge. I didn't see the guy in the back.
Just a great throw and catch, just to a sure-handed guy like Philip Nichols. I mean, pressure in his face. Luke Anthony just throws it up there on point. Philip Nichols catches it for another touchdown. What a half so far for that guy, and Luke Anthony's leading this offense very well.
That's a couple times today. Boy, I mean, the back shoulder throw to Torini and then that one are 2 throws you can't make any better, but he stood in under pressure, and he's taken hits and delivered impressive passes today.
Yeah. So you've seen now, Brock Rutter's been Brock Rutter, but Luke Anthony has been
awesome.
Luke Anthony.
He
has
awesome.
Stepped up and met him play a throw for throw so far in his game. Some really big-time throws under pressure here for the Thunder to keep them in this game. And what an outstanding performance from that kid here at a time when the Thunder desperately needed it to tie it up.
Yeah, so that puts him, after Rusty's stats, that's 18 of 27 for 265 and 3 TDs. I mean, what more can you want from the guy? He's been great.
Career high.
He's been great.
He looked very good last week against Milliken, and Doug, your point comes up again. We have yet to see the first turnover of the game.
And we make sure we bring that up as North Central is getting the ball.
Timing is everything.
It's just a heavyweight battle.
It sure is. What a great game between two top 10 teams, two great offenses and defenses going at each other in a game just like you'd expect. You know, I don't know, first one to 30 wins this game?
Starting to look like it. High kick from Bose. This one's coming to the near sideline. A fair catch called for and made at the 5. So they'll take the field position. That was the running back, Varela, who came out of the end zone to start the game. So it'll be a 25-yard line for North Central.
Brock Rudder and company coming out. Sharmore, Clark, Ricky Sturba, the whole crew coming out here. I expect them again. Coach Thorne has been very disciplined about staying with their run-pass balance. A little about 55 run, 45 pass.
Motion comes from Egan. Back to pass on first down. Looking to the right side. It's complete to Kaminsky. Picked up from behind by Wyatt Lee. And again, when they've run almost exclusively left today. Yeah. They have not really challenged the right side of the line.
There's a flat curl combination here. The inside receiver runs a flat, takes the guy covering the curl, widens the defense. Kaminsky comes from the outside, curls in on the numbers. Simple concept, simple pitch and catch again on a first down.
Just as you mentioned, Brock Rudder just throws the ball to the route, and Kaminsky runs such a sharp route that he's there right when the ball gets there.
Greenfield up the middle, spinning to the 44. Ball was exposed for a second there. Again, he is just slippery and powerful.
Well, he's behind an offensive line. These guys do a really good job of keeping their feet moving after contact. If you ever watch these offensive linemen for North Central, they're good physical run blockers, but then they keep their feet moving when they lock onto people, and that just, it makes it hard to come off blocks because you got a big force just pushing you.
Could be the last play of the third quarter. 2nd and 5, 30 seconds left. Motion comes from D'Angelo Hardy. Play fake. Rudder chased down from behind, and he's going to go down at the 40.
There's River Schindeldecker.
That is my guy.
What a big play right there. That is huge.
3rd and 9 now for the Cardinals. And we'll see if they take it to the quarter break to think about it.
Well, I certainly would. Unless you want to take a shot here with the wind at your back, but...
They will. To the fourth quarter we go. The fours go up on both sidelines. 45 minutes have decided nothing for the little brass bell.
Both O'Connell and Schindeldecker have been knocking at the door all game, and right there in a huge moment, Schindeldecker finally breaks through and gets the sack on Rudder to put him down. He hasn't gone down a whole lot. He's been pretty clean all day. He's for the third time, but in the first quarter when he took that big hit, it looked like he might be shaken, but he stood tall, goes down in a big play to end the third quarter, and now the wind at their face. This plays well for Wheaton.
This has the makings of an epic battle down the stretch here. So, fourth quarter tied. What more could you want if you're a D3 fan? And by the way, if you don't know, the folks at Division3Football.com, D3Football.com do a great job of coverage across the country, and you want to visit their site and see what they have to offer. Pat Coleman and company do a fantastic job on D3Football.com. If you're not a fan, you should be. They have all the coverage of this game and any other games across the country. You can watch some great D3 action and coverage on the site.
I think I saw it was 5 of 6 of the analysts picked North Central, and it was because of their offense, but it's been Wheaton's offense today. They were right about that, but Wheaton's offense has answered and done a great job.
348 yards for Wheaton, 357 for North Central at the end of 3.
Crowd remains on its feet. Loud McCully Stadium. Pressure from Wyatt Lee. Rudder's going to be forced out of the pocket. Down he goes!
That's huge.
Back at the 28-yard line. It's Wyatt Lee and Dallas McCray.
That is exactly what this Wheaton defense needed on this drive right there. The offense goes down and gets a huge touchdown down to tie the ball game up and ends the ensuing drive with 2 sacks, moving Brock Rudder back. They're going to kick the ball now to Wheaton's offense, which has the momentum entirely in their favor. So this is exactly what we wanted.
4th and 20 from the 29, and Deslick has struggled with the punt game. He shanked a couple. High snap. under control. This one is better. Not a whole lot of distance on it towards the Thunder sideline, and Wheaton
Good
will
field
start
position.
from their own 42.
So this is the point in the game now where you're starting to get a feel for what each team's doing. You're also starting to get a little bit tired. Legs are a little more weary, pushing and leaning on each other, running down the field, covering each other. So this is where matchups and athletes really take over. For the Thunder, this fourth quarter, what they're hoping for is that this is going to be T.J. Williams' signature party right here, is that he's going to start taking over and putting this game out of touch. Right now you got a tie ball game, but he's an athlete that can do it. On the other side, you got a North Central defense ranked number 7 in the country that is determined to keep him from beating them.
Do you take a shot here on first down knowing you've got the momentum? They bring the wide receivers to the field. Play fake. They're taking the shot. They're going to Phil Nichols. Nichols running with, and Nichols makes the catch!
Oh my goodness.
And he's going to go to the house!
Oh, my. Rusty.
Unbelievable.
Rusty carving a page out of my book, calling that play. Yes, sir, you take a shot. And there's a flag down in the middle of the field here.
I think T.J. Williams got his helmet ripped off.
Well, that's big because that's going to move the field goal back at the end here. Well, TJ's not around anybody there.
But, it's way after the play.
Wow, what a play there.
Unsportsmanlike against
Yikes.
Wheaton. So it's a celebration
Yikes.
penalty. So that's a big mistake because now you got to kick off from way back.
Yeah.
But what a throw and what a play by Luke Anthony and Phil Nichols, because Nichols slowed himself down to make sure he stayed on top of the defensive back.
And again, the game plan by the Thunder coming in, having talked to Jesse Scott, they want to pick on those safeties. So they're taking their best receivers now, Nichols, who's an all-conference wide receiver, along with Tarini, who's an all-conference receiver, and they're lining them up in the slot and running those deep plays against those safeties, knowing that they've got man-to-man against the safety from the short side. That was Nichols in the slot on the short side, running deep against Meyerhofer, who's not as good a cover guy as Beasley and Lindmark. And he does a great job. Although he's right on him. It's really good defense.
Really, it's good coverage, yeah.
It's just a better play by a great receiver.
That's going to take Philip Nichols to 10 grabs for 209 yards and 3 scores in this game, with catches of 47 yards and 60 yards for 2 scores. Just an unbelievable job. Great call by Rusty. I mean, the philosophy there is after a big stop on a big drive, you just go for the haymaker and they hit it. They connected on it big time, and that is a deflating feeling for North Central, as you had to get scored on, big stop on the next drive, and then they throw the haymaker.
The only benefit
Huge.
you have here is you got a little bit of wind at your back with this kick back 15 yards from where it would normally be due to the unsportsmanlike or the against the Thunder. So you're hoping for a big kick. If you can somehow keep them inside the 30 or 35, that would be a tremendous job from here.
Bose has the big leg, and he will boom this one. My goodness. High kick taken all the way to 12 and fumbled. Now they've got to bring him down, and Nate Gers again going to swing him down at the 15. Boy, it's
totally wiped out the
it's
penalty.
all Thunder at this point.
Big mistake there that's a physical mistake there by dropping that ball. That cost you a lot of yards because it throws off the timing of your return. You lose the blocks, and now it's just 1-on-4. And, that's just a big mistake by North Central there.
Cassidy Thornburg down on the sideline on the Wheaton side of things. Cassidy, that sideline has been absolutely electric over the past 20 minutes, and especially right now. What's the feeling down there for the Thunder?
Yes, Rusty, it's insane. It's going berserk. You have alumni standing on the sidelines who are high-fiving guys wearing pads. It's just electric right now. This team is going berserk and continuing to do so.
And on first down, they swarm Greenfield for no gain.
It's Pat O'Connell again.
Boy, this defense is starting to swarm. You can feel it. It's building on all phases at this point. This is Wheaton's first lead of the game.
This is the point in the game, where it's just like the defense is flying around. The momentum is in their favor. This is where you look for that mistake. This is where that turnover could come.
And there it was. It's Schindeldecker jumping off sides.
And I meant on North Central.
Oh, they're calling it procedure. Oh, no.
No, offsides.
Okay. Well, the side judge motioned his hands as a procedure. He just made a mistake.
That is the 4th time today that Wheaton has been caught in the offsides, and that's just smart by Brock Rutter. That's a veteran, a 5th-year senior, knowing, hey, we need something
down.
Well,
we need something to go in our favor.
You watch on film, Schindeldecker does a great job of timing the other quarterback's cadence, and so the coaches obviously picked that up. Rudder, who lives in the football offices over there at North Central, probably saw that as well and knew the hard counts would work.
And Wheaton's showing pressure here. Play clock's down to 6. Snap back to Rudder. Play fake looking left. They've got Kaminsky, the security blanket. Catch made across the 30 to the 32. Schwartz was all over it, just couldn't close the window in time. But that's a first down North Central sorely needed. Wheaton scored the last 14 points to take their first lead of the game. And now they're almost hard counting and then going to check with the sideline. This is a smart move by North Central. Slow the offense down to not play into the momentum that Wheaton has going on. 1st and 10 from their own 32-yard line as Rudder drops on 3. It's complete again to Kaminsky, the same route. And it's going to be just shy of a first down. For Kaminsky, his 13th catch of the game, and he goes over 100 yards on the day.
And they're going hard count because the Thunder are showing their defense early what they're doing, and then they're getting into the play that they want.
Well, this is a defense that was on the field a lot early. Man, every time there's at least one guy flinching.
This is just basic coverage here. Now they're just a 2-deep zone.
2nd and a yard for North Central, so the whole playbook's open. Pressure comes from Wyatt Lee, picked up, and they go into the flat to Blake Williams. Sigler can't get there in time, but he runs him into the ground in the Wheaton bench. Mark it at the 45-yard line, and another first down for the Cardinals.
Actually, it's cover 4 is what that is, which is a 2-deep safety, but the corners basically play man and the safeties cover the flat.
2 wide receivers over 100 yards today for the Cardinals. Williams and Kaminsky both over 120 now. 1st and 10 from the 45. Rudder is 21 of 30 for 272. Give to Greenfield here on first down. Running the outside. They set the edge that time, and a great play made to lose half a yard.
His second losing
That's the second loss of all season. You're going to see it right here. That's Herber comes down outside.
And O'Connell again. Once again, just a great job of setting the edge and then getting around the block to make the tackle.
Herbert, that play by Herbert is the guy they haven't been able to get in position all day. The guy that sets that outside leverage on O'Connell to help him. 2nd and 11 from the 44.
One thing you can notice with,
first down, they hit the slant and it's dropped.
Boy.
Oh, big drop
That's a
there.
big drop.
And then instead of 3rd and 3, they're going to have 3rd and 11.
That's to Corey Blair, the junior receiver, little used, only 4 receptions on the year. Not somebody, 80% of the time he's throwing to either Kaminsky or Blake Williams. And now you got 3rd and long. Which
Thunder
is,
sideline on their feet.
And the Thunder staying with the 4-down lineman look, not going into their nickel look.
Phil Barber all standing on benches trying to get the crowd into it. Rudder almost hit as he throws complete to Kaminsky. He's not going to get there. What a tackle by Ryan Schwartz. Now if you're North Central, Wheaton went for it in this exact spot on the field.
Jeff
if you're the North Central,
they're going to go for it. When you got Brock Rudder as your quarterback, an All-American 4-year starter in a championship game in the 4th quarter, there's no chance he's not going for this. And I would think that C.J. Nightingale's going to
you got to watch the hard count here. This is a prime spot for him.
Yes, it is.
And Wheaton was ready for it. They're showing pressure, though.
They got Kaminsky in the slot. Now they're changing that up. Yeah, they want Kaminsky against Corey Kennedy here. That's the look that they're looking for.
Wyatt Lee and Herber, and now they bring Schwartz as well. Rudder
got it.
As it ball's loose.
Ball's out.
It's picked up by the right tackle, Bachneck, but it's a loss of 6 on the 4th sack of the game.
Just a monstrous play by the defense once again in the biggest moment of the day. I mean, that you just need to get a stop right there, but it's a stop for a big loss. Wheaton's going to start the ball on the North Central side of the 50 now. Great field position with a 7-point lead. I mean, what do you do, Rusty? Do you go for it again?
Well,
I don't know.
Go for the jugular again?
You do not take your foot off the gas when you got Brock Rudder on the other side of the ball.
Totally agree.
You want to put them in a 2-touchdown hole as quickly as you can in the 4th quarter.
TJ Williams hasn't touched the ball for about 10 minutes of clock here, so it's probably worth getting number 32 a chance, but this is the same formation they hit with Nichols last time. Double tight with twins to the right side.
They're in the zone here, though.
1st and 10, they will give to TJ Williams. Bouncing to the left side. TJ with room. Flags come down late. This play is coming back. But, boy, that's a big run for TJ Williams. Would have been 12, but it's coming back.
Shane Dierking, the defensive coordinator for North Central, first barking at his safety for not taking a good angle, and then barking at the Wheaton sideline for holding.
That's going to be Jack Miller, number 82. Looked like he held just a little bit, and I don't know that he needed to.
Big penalty there.
So it'll be 1st and 20 for the Thunder. Now, the field's still flipped in your favor, but this has got to be something where you at least keep the clock running and milk 2.5, 3 minutes away from Brock Rudder.
Yeah, you're behind the chains, so you got to think about it. But again, you got to be aggressive here. Now, North Central's in a zone. They've been beaten in that man-to-man defense. You see them in a 2-deep zone here.
Luke Anthony sees the clock running, motions TJ Williams all the way to the outside, 5 wide on 1st and 20. Rolls to the right side. It's a quick hit to TJ Williams. Powers across midfield. Still going. Wow, what a powerful rip by Dakota Crimmins. But you get 8 back there, 2nd and 12. Shows a little bit of the strength of TJ Williams because a lot of times that ball is coming out with a strip that strong. And it's moving a little bit. TJ almost surprised he still had it in his hands. Back across midfield to the Cardinal 48, and precious seconds rolling here, and Luke Anthony knows it. He's taking his time getting his guys to the line.
You want to get 6 or 7. You can get it to a 3rd and manageable here.
They will give to TJ running right. Great cut block around the edge, 45-40, close to a 1st down.
Man, great block.
That's the guy.
What a block on the edge to spring that, though. A great cut block. You're going to see it right at the bottom as this play develops. It's going to be Jake Hibben.
They're moving the chains. He got the first down.
That's a 1st down. Gain of 13 when they needed 12 by TJ Williams.
Well, he's just the guy, Rusty, as you mentioned. We haven't seen TJ a lot in this second half so far, but he's the guy. He's a tempo runner, right? You just keep giving him his yard, keep giving him his carries, giving him his touches, and he's going to move the chains. He's going to get his yardage.
Come on, guys. Don't waste a timeout here, which they're going to have to burn.
Take the delay of game. At this point, it's just as take the delay of game.
You know, Jesse called the timeout.
We not at timeouts with 8:40 to go.
I mean, that's just bad. You cannot burn 3 timeouts and a half
to bail you out. Right.
The one was excusable on 4th down. That was
the
one you give them.
That one's okay, but you got to have those timeouts in your pocket down the stretch, and that's something where, you know, as a coach, when I was coaching, the head coach would say, "Hey, those 3 timeouts are mine. I'll decide whether we want to take the penalty or not." And that's just a communication you have to have with your offensive staff and decide who's going to take them. And Jesse's using those timeouts to bail himself out. And
after a 1st down, too, so you had clock stoppage.
Yeah.
So you have extra time, and
Now, it is a key point in the game. I mean, you want to get positive yards in all these situations. You're down here on their side of the field. Points on the board makes it a 2-score game. Any points on the board. So milking clock, getting the ball down here, and getting any kind of points on the board would be a big thing.
1st and 10, and then we'll go I formation here. This is a formation Wheaton doesn't use a lot. The timeout does get TJ Williams back on the field. He had come off for Stone Watson. 1st and 10 at the 35 behind Michael Gale out of the eye. They will give to TJ on the switchback look, and Isaiah Ziegler is all over it. Big number 68 at 5'10", 314, swallowed that one up. There's some talent, some young talent on this defensive line for North Central.
Yeah,
Gilroy's a sophomore, Ziegler's a sophomore.
He just beat the right guard McGill across his face.
He moves incredibly well for a guy that's listed at 5'10", 314. I mean, he's very active. He's a guy that we saw last year as a freshman get significant playing time, but he moves. He's that disruptive force in the middle of their defense.
Big set of plays right here. Big set of plays. The Thunder want to try to get another 10 yards at least.
2nd and 11 from the 36.
Pressure coming.
They pitch to the outside to TJ Williams. Cuts up behind Jake Hibben. Inside the 30. Goes over the tackler and down to the 28-yard line.
Big run.
Boy, and if you can trust him enough, can you get one of your 3 field goal operations to work today? At this point, you're looking at 45 with the wind at your back, and distance hasn't been the issue, though.
Yeah. Well, I think, to me, it's 4 downs. You're going to run it twice.
Agreed.
Well, to win the game, because your field goal kicker is unreliable, so you wouldn't kick it from here, in my opinion.
Double tight left on 3rd and 2. TJ Williams, 20 carries, 89 yards. Under center. Straight ahead run, TJ Williams has the 1st down, and he's going to spin down near the 20-yard line. More precious time milking away from North Central.
And he's just too much, and you see the momentum. The offensive line is doing a great job of moving the line of scrimmage back towards North Central's side of the field. And TJ, just once he sees that hole, he just has a burst and just chews up yardage so quickly.
Well, and he's
hard to take down.
He's also very patient. You watch him, he gets the ball. He just didn't take off right there. He took it, and he kind of was a little bit slow as he let that block develop. When he saw what he wanted, he can hit it so fast.
First and 10 down to the 21, inside of 7 minutes left. Motion comes inside and now outside from Carson Lean. Play clock at 5. First down, they're going to play fake the draw. Going up the rail, it's wide open. Touchdown, Thunder!
Wow, big play there.
That is a huge play. And what a play call by Jesse Scott. What a great play call. Great job by Luke Anthony hiding the ball after the fake handoff and just floating it up there for Adam Trini to go get it. What a play.
Jesse Scott's had himself a good second half today.
He's had a great day.
Well, Luke Thorson, watch him hold this ball. He's going to take a hit.
Luke Anthony.
Good Lord. I'm so sorry to the Anthony. Fortunately, I know both the Anthony and the Thorson family, so hopefully they will forgive me. Hopefully the D3 community will forgive me as well.
Well, Luke forgives you, I know that.
Luke Anthony's had a monster second half. There's two great quarterbacks on the field right now. And Luke Anthony has definitely arrived. TJ Williams is as advertised, and the Thunder have taken a 2-score lead now with 6:40 to go.
Well, it's the same thing. I mean, you have very, very good quarterback play from North Central and Brock Rutter. I mean, he's one of the best quarterbacks in America. But last year was the same way. The year before that was the same with Curtis McWilliams. I mean, they're just outshining the All-American. They're just playing great football.
The Thunder have outscored North Central 28-7 in the second half. Okay, go back to the Saturday-Monday game when a lot of people thought that the wackiness of that Sunday off thing threw North Central out of whack wasn't fair to them. This was the exact same script right here. It was 14-7 game at half. And the Thunder dominated the second half.
We talked right before we came back on the air. This was exactly where this game was 2 years ago.
Yeah. What a great job by the Thunder offense in this second half, though.
6:40 to go, and this one is going to be swung into the end zone by Griffin Bowes.
Now, the thing about it here is you can't run the ball. Now you got to put it on Brock Rutter to throw it down the field. So now the Thunder can really start to play the pass routes and do all the stuff. The linemen, Schindeldecker and O'Connell, can start teeing off a little bit.
See guys widen out, pin their ears back, and start getting after the quarterback.
Rutter's a good player. He's going to bring him down the field during this time. So it's just a matter of, you don't give up a big play. You make sure you break on the ball and you tackle people. Try to keep guys in bounds. The North Central has all 3 timeouts, so there's plenty of time on the clock here.
Twins right, they will move. Matt Metz split to the left side, and boy, North Central has to use a timeout getting their offense on the field.
Bails them out, just what we talked about.
My goodness.
You know what, we talked about the misuse, quote unquote misuse of timeouts, but they've scored touchdowns after each of those plays, so at least when the timeout is used and we're able to huddle up, Wheaton's able to huddle up and talk, they get the play they want, they draw it up, they take their time, and they get it done. So if you have to do it, you might as well score a touchdown.
Yeah, that's true, and the Thunder have scored 2 touchdowns off timeouts.
And the third one was just after it.
Yeah.
A couple plays later. So, I mean, it's working, I guess, so that's why I'm up here.
2 by 2 the wide receivers. Well, they only had 10 guys on the field as well, missing a wide receiver on the formation before the timeout. First and 10 from the 25, 4-man rush. Rutter will dump off to Greenfield. Wyatt Lee right down there to put a shoulder into him and send him to the sideline.
And Lee's down.
Yeah, that shoulder did not. I mean, he took the blow for sure. See it again here on the replay. By the time he made the tackle, it was almost the back of the shoulder than it was. That's what you worry about there.
Clavicle area. I mean, you just hope that he maybe knocked the wind out of him, caught a little bit of the upper chest cavity or something.
Nate Gers is the replacement for Wyatt Lee. And Gers has had his name called a couple times on big special teams coverages. Gers, the senior out of Littleton, Colorado. So it was a gain of 4. Lee's jogging his way to the sideline, moving that arm, so he's ready to go back in already. It looks just maybe a little stinger, just work that loose.
We need some Patrick O'Connell here.
2nd and 6, and there it is. Dallas McCray. O'Connell chased him out. McCray cleans it up, and it'll be 3rd and long.
There you go. This Thunder defense is now starting to take over again. You got a great offense. You got Brock Rutter, 4th quarter. It's been a battle up front on both sides. I think the first half was won by North Central. The second half clearly has been won by Wheaton. But what a battle between 2 great teams.
3rd and 12 for North Central. They bring pressure. Rutter climbing, looking for Williams, broken up by Rowland.
No, he caught it.
Oh, wow.
He caught that ball for a first down.
I don't know. It's
right at the chain.
No, they're going to give it to him.
Right at the chain.
Rowland almost beside himself. You don't see a cornerback react like that unless he thinks he got it. You see it again. I don't know how that got past Rowland.
He caught it. I just thought it was kind of a bad spot. Might have been a touch short, but,
We've seen our fair share of them already.
Great execution there.
1st and 10 from the 35. Rudder climbs. Going to go up top for Williams. Over the top coverage from Rowland, who was stride for stride with the big 6'4" target.
What?
He gave a little. No, I think that's going to be.
That's got to be
offensive.
offensive.
Got to be offensive. I mean, you saw at the end of the play, he gave a shove.
Wow, this is.
Watch at the end of this play. I mean, we'll get the call in a second, but you see.
I wouldn't give the refs that much credit. I hope they call that, but I wouldn't give them that much credit.
There it is.
Give him a little shove, and you see.
They call off the flag. That's probably the right call.
Especially from where it came from.
Well, if it's not against Wheaton, you wave off the flag. Isn't that the rule? No, I'm sorry. No, the refs did a good job. I agree. That is a good call to do it in that situation. That should have been a no call, which is why I reacted the way I did. So, again, big play right here. 2nd down and 10.
Four down territory if you're North Central. I mean,
Absolutely.
You're chasing 2 scores down to 5.5 minutes. You've got to go for it all the way to the end. 4-man rush for Rudder. Well protected. Over the head of Kaminsky, and it falls harmlessly.
Kaminsky took a hit there from Herber, and he's down. They took a big hit there coming across.
It was when I think his head hit the turf at the end here.
Yeah, good call, Dan.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, that's going to be it for Kaminsky, which would be a big blow. Or he's certainly out for a bit.
He's as Rusty said earlier, he has been the safety valve now for Brock Rudder for a couple of years. I mean, he's got 13 grabs today.
He's such a great player.
Gives him 40 on the year.
Well, they've got a great relationship both on and off the field. 2 great people as well as good players, Kaminsky and Rudder. Jeff Thorne speaks so highly of both of these guys, but Kaminsky has been an absolute monster on the field. He set a school record with 15 catches in a game earlier this season.
Well, he's at 13 today.
And he is the go-to guy.
14 for 112 today.
So you just hope that he's going to be okay here. What a performance really from both teams. It's been a heavyweight battle through and through the whole game here. And you're not taking anything away from either one of these teams. They're both top 10 for a reason, top 10 programs. And regardless of the outcome of this game, I would be surprised if both these teams don't end up in the playoffs by the end of the season. Now, both teams have some big games coming up. The Thunder still got to play here against Wash U, which would be one of the other top teams in the conference. The North Central still has to play against Illinois Wesleyan at home. I think it's second to last game. That's going to be the end of this month.
Kaminsky being helped to the sideline, but a big sign that they took his helmet to walk him there. That's usually a sign that they're going to do some concussion protocols. And that
he's holding his shoulder, holding his arm next to his body, not moving that. It's just that's an unfortunate thing. I mean, Doug, you mentioned earlier in the game, you don't want to see when you have 2 teams like this, as good a player as he is, you want them at full strength. To make this the best game possible.
Elsewhere in the conference, Illinois Wesleyan leads Carroll 28-14 going to the 4th quarter. 35-21. Pressure comes from Wheaton. Rudder going to escape the first rush. Somehow stays on his feet. Now he's going to go deep. They've got a man with a step, and Herbert turned around at the last second, but he bumped him. You're asking a linebacker to guard for a long time there.
Oh, that's just tough because he actually turned and looked, but the receiver's slowing down because the ball's underthrown. And so he's still running. He doesn't have a sense of where the ball is. I mean, it's a penalty, but it's just unfortunate for the defender. He actually played good defense. He did exactly what you're supposed to do, turn and look, kept his hands back and off of him, but he ran into him because the ball was slightly underthrown. The receiver had to come back.
8 minutes to play over at Langhorse Field. Carthage leading Elmhurst 38-14. Elsewhere, Wash U 35-10 over North Park down in St. Louis. A little surprised that Wesleyan Carroll game is so close at 14 points in the 4th quarter. 1st and 10 at midfield for the Cardinals. Trips to the left side for Brock Rudder. Wyatt Lee's back on the field after the injury. Rudder moving in the pocket, and it's too high for Matt Metz.
You can tell, though, Rudder's not quite as comfortable back there as he's been all game. You just see at the end of this, his feet start to get a little happy. At the end of this, you start to see him move around a little bit. Not quite as accurate. The guy's a 78%, throwing 78% of his passes completing coming into this game. And the Thunder have him a little bit on his heels, which is tough to do.
24 of 36, 297. Averaging 367 yards a game. They give to Greenfield because they've got to close the gap on third down, and they get it to 3rd and 6. 5 minutes left in the battle for the Little Brass Bell, and Wheaton on a 28-7 run to lead 35-21. I'm Rusty Lindsay with Dan Studebaker, Doug Rothschild, Cassidy Thornburg down on the field. It's been all Wheaton here in the second half.
2 downs they got to defend right here.
4 down linemen. The defensive ends will stand up. Snap is back. Looking to the left side, it's complete to Hardy, who we haven't called his name a lot today. He's got a first down inside the 40 to the 37. That's his first catch of the game.
Well, with Kaminsky out, he takes that spot, and that's in the slot against man coverage, and he's going to take that out route.
Nick Rummel, the freshman, also on the field now as they next man up with the wide receivers. So Matt Metz and Nick Rummel. As Rudder looks to the left side, through the hands of Matt Metz a little too high.
And Rudder had somebody on him again.
And that's Dallas McCray.
Dallas has been all over Rudder in the second half today. They're running a lot of stunts with he and O'Connell. O'Connell going underneath and McCray coming from around.
And that's just about moving Rudder off his spot, at least making him think about it. And at the end of he knows the longer he holds it, that D-line's beating in on him. And it just is in the back of your mind. It makes it a little tougher.
2nd and 10 from the 37. Rudder trying to go up top. He's got Williams with Rowland, and that's pretty smart play by Rowland. He kind of gets away with it because he never extends the arm, but just keeps that hand on his number and keeps moving him out of the trajectory of that ball. 3rd and 10.
To give you some of the, I mean, we've talked about Brock Rudder and the quality of quarterback he is, but he has as of today, 11,000 yards passing in his career.
He's
unbelievable.
Had a monster career.
Unbelievable.
He's completing today, as of prior to that last pass, so just a little right at 66% of his passes having come in, completing 78%. So the Thunder have done a good job limiting him.
5 down linemen here for the Thunder, and Rudder struggling to understand what the sideline wants here. Play clock's at 5. 4 wide receivers. Williams on his own to the left. Rudder finds a hole to step up, going to the sideline for Rummel. The freshman can't bring it in.
We'll see what C.J. Nightingale has in his bag here, but I wouldn't be surprised with the success of pressure that they've had with Wyatt Lee coming back into the game if they dial something up here to try to get Rudder on the ground again, or certainly
don't get the
spot.
You got to get 10 yards. You can't give those routes time to develop downfield.
Here comes Lee.
Yep, it's pressure. There's going to be man coverage.
He's going to be looking as well.
That Kaminsky back in the game in the slot?
Yes, it is. Tough as nails, Andrew Kaminsky.
Look for that matchup right here against Corey Kennedy.
They bring 6, and Schindeldecker got to him. It's Williams on the drag, and Rowland's not going to let him get there. Plus a huge hit from Corey Kennedy.
Wow. What a phenomenal job by this Wheaton Thunder defense in the second half, holding Brock Rudder to 7 points.
River Schindeldecker with a great edge rush there to get to the back of Brock Rudder.
This Thunder defense has done an outstanding job holding Rudder and this offense last year to 20 points, today to 21 points.
25 of 40, 305, and 2 touchdowns. They let him go for 436 last year, but it was only for 1 touchdown. And that was the big one before halftime. So now it's 4-minute drill time for the Thunder. North Central with only 2 timeouts. Give to T.J. Williams, running to the right side. Williams stutter step, and a great play made by Creemans, who's had a really nice game for North Central.
I don't like these wide runs against defenses like this that have so much speed in the secondary. You know, I think you really want to come downhill at guys like this.
Well, and that's a run that worked it's been working so far this year because you've got T.J. Williams and it's Monmouth, Illinois Wesleyan, and Milliken.
The opponents haven't matched the speed of Wheaton so far,
right.
But I mean, the NCC definitely does. It's a 6-yard loss to start a drive that presumably could end the game if it goes well.
The other thing is you're starting to see enough tape of him making guys miss on that you tell guys, all right, you got to get there faster than you think. 2nd and 16, play fake for Anthony. Anthony forced to roll to the near
middle
side,
of the field.
And he's going to wisely take the sack. That's a smart play by Luke Anthony just to keep the clock running. Offense in reverse, but time is as valuable as yards right now.
Sure is.
As we roll inside of 3 minutes.
This ball's going to be a running play. Virtually, I think that's as close to 100% probability as you can get.
3rd and 21 from their own 22, and a little surprised North Central hasn't used one of their timeouts now. 2:40 and rolling as Anthony wisely.
Maybe throw that bubble to TJ out to the left here with the receivers blocking, but other than that, I think you hand it.
Snap right at 1, and they will give TJ Williams, and TJ will get a couple of yards, but North Central's right there. They make the tackle inbounds. And there's the timeout from North Central with 2:22 to go. So even without a first down and backing up almost 10 yards, you roll almost 2 minutes off the clock there.
Now you got to protect this punt, because if I'm North Central, I come for this punt, because the one thing you're looking for is a quick score. And the fastest way to score right now is block a punt. So I would anticipate full pressure against this punt team.
Bickle's been very good today.
Shut the music off.
2:23, so they're going to put a second back on. Bickle has been good today. The first one he got down at the 2-yard line. So it looks like Corey Kennedy's going to step up and be the personal protector. We haven't seen this roll since Peterson went out on the punt in the first half. This one will bounce towards Kaminsky, who will just pick it up. Forced to pick it up in a huge hit, and they're going to get helmet to helmet against Kamicha.
I guess I don't understand that. I thought the guy...
It looked like Kaminsky bowed his head into it. But if it's...
the guy's a runner with the ball.
Well, hold on, because the official is saying that he's showing the hand motion that perhaps they're calling an illegal fair catch. Holding.
That's against North Central, gotcha.
Yeah, holding on the return. There seemed to be some discussion if he was calling for fair catch and then trying to make a return.
I don't think that's a situation where it's helmet to helmet, just simply because this guy's established himself as a runner with the ball.
Yeah, see, they clarify that the hands were out at
right there. He grabbed
down.
14, grabbed Turini.
Yep. So move the ball back to the 28.
Well, this Thunder defense got to get cook up one more stop on against Brock Rudder and company here. 2:13 to go. Again, you keep everything in front of you. The clock is your friend. They have one timeout, North Central does. They got to go a long way for 2 scores. So you just don't want to give up anything quick and easy here.
3 wides right, Williams left, and he will drag underneath. Rudder's going to go down. 7th time today.
It looked like he tripped over his own lineman.
Yeah. He got pushed back. Jake Holliday pushed the guard. It looks like put Sturba back right into him.
Yeah, sure enough. That should be probably credited to Holliday, but
they have really stepped up in the second half.
This defensive line has dominated. No question.
Bad snap, corralled by Rudder. Breaks away from pressure, still on his feet.
Crawling.
He's got a man wide open, but can't get enough on it to get it to Blake Williams. Man, he has not had a clean pocket, it seems like, for the entire second half.
A little bit of a bad mishandled snap. He feels that pressure. You go down 7 times, you start to feel that. Look at him backing up. He's throwing off his back foot, just doesn't have enough juice on it. That's not Brock Rudder. I mean, that's the effect of this Wheaton defense that's been punishing in the second half.
That was the big thing in the second half of that game here as Rudder goes back into screen. Schindeldecker almost got there in time. Lee takes on the blockers. They'll usher him into the sideline back at the original line of scrimmage, so it's a gain of 5. Clock stops with 1:35.
I mean, you see Wyatt Lee on this play. I mean, he's such a slippery linebacker. I mean, he takes on 2 guys and just continues to move his hands and gets in on that play to make it for a short gain. Just a great play by Wyatt Lee.
4th down here.
4th and 11 from the 27-yard line. Rudder will roll to his right, just trying to get away from Schindeldecker. Pressure on his back and is behind Kaminsky.
Corey Kennedy tips it away.
Down.
That's it.
That's the ball game.
And Wheaton can go into victory formation with 1:29 left. Clay Wagner's waving goodbye to him.
What a performance the Thunder have put on here in the second half. A 28-7 outscoring.
Yeah, they should get a taunting penalty against the Thunder sideline.
See, they got a very, very long warning there.
And I think Drew Smith, the senior, went out to say, we got it. Well, this is as impressive a half as you can think of for the Thunder here in the second half. You saw it in the first half. There was a lot of jawing and extracurriculars going on. And Anthony's going to take his time dropping back and taking a knee.
And Jeff Thorne doesn't look like he's going to use that final timeout.
Luke Anthony today, 21 of 30 for 351 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Wow. What an outstanding performance from that kid.
I mean, we said in the before the game started that North Central was going to force him to beat them, and he did.
He did.
He did his job.
And I think, tip your cap if that's your game plan, and he does. It's the only thing you can do is tip your cap. Luke Anthony, absolutely spectacular today. Play clock down to 4. He'll have to take one more knee. Pat O'Connell's already got the bell in his hands.
I mean, something not to be. Yeah, he calls dibs. Something not to be overlooked. You know, this takes Brock Rudder's career record against Wheaton to 1-4.
Yeah,
and he's lost the last 4.
He might have 4 other losses in his career.
That's a good point.
I mean, Wheaton has just had his number and has had North Central's numbers in the last 4 matchups.
3 straight Bell victories, 4 straight in the series, and you can turn the sideline loose now.
What a win at homecoming against your bitter rival, against the number 5 team in the country,
and a great football team. North Central is going to. I'd be surprised if they didn't win out and end up in the playoffs.
Yep.
And that's a great football team on the other side of the field. There, Wheaton just stepped up and proved that they belong in that conversation as well.
That's fun.
Wabash has a loss. Wittenberg has a loss. St. Thomas has a loss. If you look at the season so far
I
this
thought you
year,
meant today.
So far this year,
like again,
is this enough? Is this enough that Wheaton's got the door open for a number 1 seed now?
Well, there's
a lot of football to play, but if you're going to look big picture at this point,
a little premature to be start talking about that. But certainly a CCIW champ of this caliber is certainly worthy of consideration in that. Whether the numbers fall that way or not is going to be determined much in a few weeks here. There's a lot of football to play.
There's a ton of football to be played for both of these teams, and both teams have capable opponents left on the schedule.
Absolutely.
I mean, Wheaton lost to Wash U last year. They come here this year, but that's not a team that you can overlook. You have the toughest part of your schedule presumably behind you, but now you just have to go out and win the games you're supposed to win.
Yeah, Wheaton coming into this game, they knew what was ahead of them, and they've done a good job. But their schedule was in their favor. They play all the top teams, all the other top teams in the conference here at McCully this year. They got North Central. They played Wesleyan here. They're going to play Wash U here. They get Augie here, and Augie's much improved and is a type of team to me that's dangerous out there if you don't play well. And Wesleyan showed that last week. They almost lost to them as well. So they have all those teams here at McCully, which is a big advantage for them.
Cassidy's down on the field somewhere trying to get a hold of Jesse Clark, but a great moment for Mike Swider there as you saw him go through the line.
Jesse Scott.
Come on, guys.
Jesse Clark's over with Luke Thorson.
You saw Coach Swider get to be grandpa there for a second after going through the line, picked up his grandson, JJ and Justin there. Go ahead, Dan. Take us through the final stats.
Yeah, just final statistics. Wheaton 35, North Central 21. North Central ran the ball 38 times for 85 yards. So -1 in the second half. Wheaton ran the ball 35 times for 96 yards. North Central ran 83 plays for 398, so 203 yards below their season average. Wheaton ran 65 for 447. Possession time was almost equal at 30 minutes each. Leading the way rushing for North Central was Ethan Greenfield, 29 carries for 111 yards and a score. Luke Anthony, 7 carries for 55 yards. TJ Williams leads the way with 23 for a net of 38. With 67 yards lost. That can't be right.
That can't be right.
Passing 27 of 45 for 313 and 2 touchdowns for Brock Rudder. Luke Anthony led the way with 21 of 30 for 351 and 5 touchdowns. Receiving Andrew Kamensky, 14 grabs for 112 yards and a touchdown. Philip Nichols, 10 catches, 207 yards and 3 touchdowns.
TJ on the live stats, 21 carries, 96 yards.
There you go. That sounds better. Leading the way in tackling, Ben Wong, a total of 8. Jake Beasley short, just behind him with 6. And Ryan Schwartz with 11 total tackles, tied with Daniel Herber for the team lead with 11. Patrick O'Connell, whose name we said we wanted to start calling more, had 7 total tackles.
Had 9
with 2
coming
sacks.
into tonight.
2 sacks today, 3 tackles for loss total.
Seven total sacks today. They only sacked Rudder twice last year, but they sacked him 6 times the time before. In 4 games against Wheaton coming into play, and Dan, I'm going to hold you to repeat Rudder's line. In 4 games coming into play, Rudder against Wheaton, completing 61% of his passes, only 295 yards. Again, I say only because he's averaging well over 300 most of the time. 4 touchdowns, 4 picks, 12 sacks. And
today he was 27 of 45 for 313 and 2 touchdowns. Sacked 7 times. Luke Anthony was kept upright for most of the day with only sacked twice. So, I mean, it was a tale of 2 halves once again. It's been that way for the last couple of years here, but Wheaton outscores North Central 28-7 in the second half. Just an unbelievable halftime adjustment. I mean, you could just tell that they came out and it was a different team. Two different teams.
Again, what we said at the outset is this battle's going to be won up front. The first half was won up front by North Central. The second half was completely script flipped. Wheaton dominated the line of scrimmage. Certainly in the protection scheme, they kept Luke Anthony clean. And then North Central has some challenges because structurally on defense, they play a lot of bump and run man. And if you've got the guys to do that, and up until now, their guys have been able to do that, and they got beat today by a couple really good all-conference wide receivers. They got a couple more headed their way in a few weeks here when Illinois Wesleyan comes to Benedetti Worley Stadium. And if they play that same defense, I guarantee you that Brandon Bauer is going to take some shots with their tall wide receivers going down the field too. So.
Yep. I don't know what else there is to say about what Wheaton was able to do in the second half, because like you had mentioned, they were so outstanding. North Central dominated the line of scrimmage. Greenfield had 78 yards rushing at halftime. He finishes with 111, and Luke Anthony was terrific. So a 35-21 winner. Wheaton's won 4 in a row now in this series, 3 in a row with the bell on the line. And now they will travel to North Park next week for a 1 o'clock kickoff before returning home for back-to-back home games against WashU and Augustana here at McCully Stadium. But certainly setting the tone for what could be a long rest of the season. They have set themselves up nicely for a favorable playoff run if they're able to finish out this season strong. 35-21 our final. For Cassidy Thornburg down in the field, Doug Rothschild, Dan Studebaker, our outstanding production crew at Sunrise Communications. I'm Rusty Lindsay. Thanks for tuning in today. This has been a production of Wheaton Thunder Football from the Wheaton Thunder Sports Network.